Average Joe's Eatery and Patio Bar is North Bay's only year-round lakefront restaurant. On the shores of beautiful Trout Lake, we have been serving delicious food and stunning views since 1999. Indulge in one of our delicious menu items or simply sit with a cocktail in hand and watch the beauty of Trout Lake before your eyes. Check us out online at averagejoes.net or visit us in person at 3501 Trout Lake Road, North Bay.
As a Canadore College alumni, you have access to perks. Canadore Alumni Perks. This is a lifetime membership that includes special access to great offers, opportunities to get involved, and so much more. Graduates can access discounts and special offers from businesses and hotels locally, across Canada, and internationally. Get information on special events and news, or access the alumni job portal. Keep in touch with Canadore's alumni office. Visit canadorecollege.ca/perks. Great things happen here.
You rely on your vehicle to take you to the places that matter most to you. So bring your vehicle to the team you can rely on to keep it running at its best. Dave's Automotive Services. Whether you're getting your car or truck ready for the season with a tire change, making sure you're safe on the road with an inspection and certification, or doing your due diligence to keep your vehicle in tip-top shape with regular maintenance, Dave's Automotive Services has you covered. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect when you bring your car or truck to Dave's Automotive Services at 411 Airport Road. Call 705-478-5544 and book your appointment today.
The Frontline Podcast, Season 3. Courtney Kenny, Matthew Sukram, Derek Lindemann, Bob Coles, and Ben Long bring you closer to your favorite teams like never before. Covering everything to do with hockey in the North Bay area, exclusive interviews with the North Bay Battalion staff and players, expert analysis on the OHL, NOJHL, and more, keeping you up to date on all things Voodoos, Trappers, Lakers, and more. It's a new season, it's a new adventure. The Frontline Podcast Season 3. Available wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Average Joe's Eatery. Average Joe's, where we want your experience here to be a happy one. 3501 Trout Lake Road.
Good afternoon, friends from around the world, especially those tuning in Port Charlotte, Florida, and welcome into North Bay Memorial Gardens for OHL Battalion Hockey here on the Frontline broadcast. I am your host, Derek Lindemann, and tonight the Flint Firebirds come soaring into town and have landed right here in North Bay to take on the Central Division leading North Bay Battalion. Tonight's pregame show is brought to you by...
The pregame show is brought to you by La Huerta Imports, family owned and operated since 1995. Visit lahuertaimports.com for more details.
The Flint Firebirds come into North Bay Memorial Gardens for the first time since December 8th of 2019. And in that game, the Flint Firebirds left town with a 5-3 victory. And ironically enough, that was the last game before Ryan Oulahen took over as head coach for the North Bay Battalion. Oulahen, previously before that stint, spent most of 3 years coaching the Flint Firebirds, and this is going to be the first opportunity he has coaching against his old team. Thursday night after the game, our very own Courtney Kenny had the opportunity to ask Coach Oulahen about what it meant to coach against the Firebirds again.
Now on a personal side.
Unfortunately, technical difficulties. We weren't able to bring you that interview, Courtney Kenny and Coach Ryan Oulahen, but it was, he's saying, a very special time as he took over just after that victory, and getting the chance to coach against one of his former teams really had special meanings. He's been much better leading this North Bay Battalion team than he did leading the Flint Firebirds in those 3 seasons, only once getting to the playoffs before losing in 5 games that season. Ben Sargent, welcome to the pregame. As we haven't seen the Flint Firebirds in some time, they're coming in off a loss Friday night against the Sudbury Wolves that saw them give up a 4-1 lead in the third period.
Yeah, and what an interesting game that was, right? So they were up 4-1. They give up 4 unanswered goals and another empty net goal. And of course, the worst part about it was they were tied. Going into till 43 seconds left. When David Gaiotti of the Sudbury Wolves ended up tipping home the game-winning goal. So not a very good start for the Flint Firebirds. Of course, they're on the 4th game of a 5-game road trip. It started off with a 6-3 loss versus Windsor, and then they also lost 6-1 to Barrie, and then, of course, 2 days ago, the really hard 6-4 loss to Sudbury. So they've given up 6 goals in their first 3 games of this road trip, and on top of that, they're also lost 3 in a row, whereas you look at the North Bay Battalion, and they're on a 5-game winning streak.
They spent the day off yesterday, Flint did, enjoying some Northern Ontario activities as they were out on the lake doing some ice fishing. Not sure about their luck there, but they come in tonight against a red-hot North Bay Battalion team who have won their last 5 games, including 8 straight victories here on home ice. Battalion looking to really get off to a hot start again in this game.
Yeah, and this is not the same Flint team that they saw last year, right? So last year, you look at what happened with the Flint Firebirds. They were second in the West. They got all the way to the OHL finals, the Western Conference finals before losing to Windsor. And now this year, they're in that 6th spot. And right now, they're very, very close between them, Saginaw, Owen Sound, and Guelph, who's 7th behind them. They're very close to every point right now counts. So even that, you look at that game against Sudbury, they're coming in with a little bit of fire underneath them. And they're a team that's good on the road. They have a winning road record, but we also know how good North Bay is here in the Gardens.
Hearing that, we're ready to hear those comments from Coach Oulahen. So let's hear what he had to say about meeting up with his former team, the Firebirds.
Now on a personal side as well.
Okay, we're not going to get that audio, and we're done trying, as momentarily we'll get our players to watch queued up, and we'll see what happens there. But like we talked about, the Battalion hot with a 5-game winning streak. We're going to see the same lineup that we saw Thursday night, as we're still going to be without the services of Tanias Mathern, still long-term. Liam Arnsby, who's still dealing with an illness. Alexander Lucan dealing with an illness also. Luke Bruskowski still out as he broke a finger in that victory in Sudbury on Wednesday night. So a lot of interesting things, but the same lineup will be addressed again for Oulahen.
Yeah, and when we talked about this on the broadcast against the Sioux Greyhounds, I really, really, really like this top 9 right now. When you look at Petrov, Zito, and Tarasevich, they look very good on that 3rd line. Van Stietzel and Wakely looks very good with McDonald. And the thing that I really like about having that Petrov and Zito line as the 3rd line is it really creates a very dynamic top 9. Before, when they were with McDonald, they had an elite top 6 with a really solid bottom 6. And I think with them being on that 3rd line, they now have an elite top 9, in my opinion.
One of the key stats that we like to look at here on the front line is face-offs. And that's one of the reasons why we chose 2 of the top centermen in this league as our players to watch, as they've been brought to you by Mike, the financial advisor.
Players to Watch is brought to you by Mike, the financial advisor. If you have financial questions, he has financial answers. On Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Mike the FA.
Our play to watch tonight for the Flint Firebirds, Amadeus Lombardi leads his team in goals, 23, 52, 51 points, and is winning 52.5% of his face-offs. And for the North Bay Battalion, Kyle Jackson, he's got 52 points on the season and is a 50% face-off guy. Well, Ben, 2 exciting centers that we're going to get to see here, and they're at the top, but not only of winning face-offs, but also points of their teams.
Yeah, Lombardi's a very, very interesting guy. Here's a guy who was drafted in the 13th round by Flint. That is very deep. That's basically at the end of the draft in 2019. Last year was his first year in the Ontario Hockey League, and it saw him score about 57 points in 67 games. He played all but 1 game. This year, he's at 51 points, so he's almost at his total that he had all last year in about 37 games. This kid is absolutely incredible of a player, and he's really kind of went from being a player that nobody really knew to being one of the best players in the league. And on top of that, Detroit in 2022 did draft him in the 4th round, and that's going to be a really nice pick for him. But if you talk the parallel between him and Jackson, the very interesting thing is this year, Lombardi is actually on pace for 89 points. You know what Jackson's on pace for? 91. They're very similar.
And really, the name of the game for Kyle Jackson over the last 2 years is consistency. Yep. He put the numbers up last year. We thought what might happen with the absence of Coe and and his other former line mates, and just seeing that we're seeing the production again this year out of Kyle Jackson.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting with this top line because in the last few home games, the top line hasn't been, even if they've been getting on the score sheet, they haven't been incredibly effective at creating good opportunities to score a lot of times. We've seen Petrov and Zito, that line, being really good. We've seen McDonald create some chances. So it's going to be interesting 5-on-5 to see how this top line is going to be able to impact. Again, they're playing the hardest team that they've played in the last few games, and it's going to be very interesting to see how this is going to go. But I think that top line for the Battalion are going to be a big key.
And that's just funny how we talk about the top line, because Thursday night we saw most of the scoring coming from that third line as Petrov, Tarasevich, and Zito were really clicking. Petrov recording 3 points in that game, including 2 goals for himself.
Yeah, and if you look, another interesting point going into this game, Flint has given up 6 goals in their last 3 games. Their starting goalie, Will Cranley, also has given up 6 goals in his last 3 starts. The advantage of the Battalion is since their 6-3 loss to Barrie on the 17th of December, 7 straight games of 3 goals or less before the game against the Sioux where they gave up 4 goals. Another interesting fact is the fact that their last few games they've had this struggle of inconsistency of scoring goals. They've scored 7 goals and then couldn't score more than 3. Then scored 7, couldn't score more than 3. Scored 7. It's kind of a pattern, and unfortunately for them, they scored 7 last game against the Sioux, so we'll see if they can break that plateau here, but that's going to be a very interesting pattern to watch.
One of those other stars from last Thursday's game was Ty Nelson, really flying out there on the ice, his speed. 2 goals for himself on one-timers from the point, 1 assist to go for that 3-point night. 12 goals now on the season. The season high for North Bay Battalion defenseman was 19 by Brendan Miller back in 14-15. Nelson's well on his way to break that record.
Yeah, and you saw it last game. The thing that I loved about him is he tends to he takes his spots when he wants to be aggressive. The thing that was really impressive about Nelson, though, was they were down 3-1 in that first half of that game, and he put them on their back and got them back in that game. You could tell by the rushes that he created, the offensive chances he created, and he knows when he needs to rush and when he needs to back off and let the offense do their thing. And he's such an impressive kid, and man, if you're a Seattle fan, you got to be so excited about both him and Jackson. But Nelson, I think he has a shot at maybe getting to 20 this year if he continues his aggressive play style.
And the other guy getting 2 goals on Thursday night, Kyle McDonald, missed 18 games due to an injury. To me, he's playing just like he didn't miss any time, as he's right back up there continuing his physical play and his prowess around the goal.
Yeah, and I think this has to do a lot with the fact that he's playing with a guy like Wakely Van Steetzl. It's going to be interesting when Arnsby comes back, how they kind of juggle lines about. I really, really hope that they keep that second line relatively intact and they keep that third line intact. I think the big thing with McDonald is his style of play. He's very, he likes to control the puck. He likes to create transitions. He's a guy who likes to do a lot of stuff on his own and have people there supporting him when he needs it. That's the style of play he's kind of made. With Petrov and Zito, however, they're players that they like to make plays with each other. They like to have odd man rushes and create opportunities in the offensive zone together. And there was kind of some chemistry that was messing up when they were with McDonald. And I felt like right now, the way that Wakely and Van Steetzl play and support McDonald has been very good. And we've seen that, and we've seen him score multiple goals. He's had a couple of multi-goal games now since he's come back, and he's been a fantastic. And again, he's playing for something. He's overage. He's not drafted. He went to the Ottawa camp in the summer, so he's looking for a big season this year to hopefully get signed.
Yeah, he's looking to follow in the footsteps of Justin Brazo and Barclay Goodrow, players that earned that entry-level contract in their overage season. Let's take a look at the goaltenders tonight. Will Cranley getting the start for the Flint Firebirds, the St. Louis draft pick, coming in with a 14-11-2 record, a .355 goals against average, and an .894 save percentage. He was not dressed Friday night against the Sudbury Wolves, but will get the start tonight. The Flint Firebirds ran out and got Cranley from the Ottawa 67s in the offseason, as Cranley potentially was supposed to be the goaltender of the season this year for the 67s.
Yeah, and Cranley's kind of in a weird spot. Flint's carrying 4 goaltenders. We were talking about this before, and they dress 2 per game, which is very kind of interesting. And the thing with Cranley is that he's a really solid goaltender. He had an amazing rookie season where he saw a sub-3 goals against average. Right now, career-wise, he's usually around the 3.5 to 3.8 goals against average. He's a guy that will help you win games, but he's not necessarily going to steal you too many games. And I think for him, it's going to be important to not let up 6 goals again. He's going to have to be very confident inside of that net and try and limit the amount of goals.
Speaking of sub-3 goalies, that's our goaltender of tonight for the North Bay Battalion, as Dom DeVincentis will be back in goal, coming in with 21 wins and only 6 losses on the season, a 249 goals against average, and a 908 save percentage. Elite numbers for a goaltender in this OHL.
Yeah, what more can you say about DiVincentis and this goaltending corp that the Battalion have? The thing with DiVincentis that is so good is his positioning. He doesn't need to make super fancy saves. You don't see him floundering around trying to make these incredible highlight reel saves. A lot of times his saves don't look impressive, but they are because his positioning is fantastic. And you couple that with the amazing defense that the Battalion have, and you just get a really, really good defensive and goaltending performance.
And that's what we expect tonight. The same 6D that we saw the other night. That fourth unit will again be Braden Turley and Kennedy. Those two look solid Thursday night for the Battalion.
Yeah, and I really like Winslow on that second line with Lucan out. He's done a really good job with Christopoulos, and yeah, I expect this to be a very good game. This is the best team the Battalion have seen in a while, and I expect this to be a very, very good game, and it's going to be entertaining.
I think the start again is going to be important. That's something we keep hyping on for the North Bay Battalion as they get off to a couple of slow starts here at Memorial Gardens, giving up goals in that first minute of play. And it's interesting to see how the Battalion can come out of the tunnel.
Yeah, it's going to be about playing full 60 minutes. You see them playing against the Sioux Greyhounds. Really tough first half of that game. They really stepped it up in the second half. It's going to all be about can they play a solid 60 minutes across the entire game.
While we're ready up here in the media booth, when we return, Matt Sukram will join you, Ben Sargent, for all of our action here as it's the Firebirds Battalion here on the Frontline broadcast.
Meals are a special time for families to gather, share their day, and spend quality time together. Those dinners are made extra special when you add tropical produce found in the markets and grocery stores that carry La Huerta imports. La Huerta knows the importance of family, so they know which quality products make the best quality meals for your customers, whether it be Mexican Hass avocados, Brazilian figs, Ecuadorian red dragon fruit, or something just as exotic and special. To get your supply of the best tropical produce at competitive prices with brands buyers trust, contact La Huerta Imports at 705-752-1478.
Community engagement is one of our core focuses at McDonald's. The key is finding the right people who are passionate about the same things we are, helping kids be kids. McDonald's proudly supports local organizations such as the North Bay Regional Health Center Foundation, Big Brothers Big Sisters, One Kids Place, the Children's Aid Society, and Ronald McDonald House Charities. Stop by McDonald's on 1500 Fisher Street, North Bay, to see how we can serve you and the community every day.
Hey there, I'm Mike the Financial Advisor. When you strip it down to its core and you take away all the industry jargon, I help people solve financial concerns. So if you're concerned that you'll never save enough to retire comfortably, or that your kid is going to graduate post-secondary $40,000 in debt, or maybe even that life is going to take a really unfortunate sideways turn and somebody is going to have to open a GoFundMe page for you and your family, I can help you prevent all of those things from happening. If you want to see how, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Just do a search for Mike the Financial Advisor. You should find me.
afternoon and welcome to Memorial Gardens in North Bay, Ontario. I am Matthew Sucrum alongside Ben Sargent, and we are set for action today as the North Bay Battalion look to continue the win streak and make it 6 in a row as they host the Flint Firebirds for the first time since before the COVID-19 pandemic. And Ben, as you and Derek alluded to in this one, the Flint Firebirds are a team that they've got some scores on their team. However, they went and made a move and got rid of probably their best scoring player earlier this season.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because they're in a spot where, again, last year they had such a fantastic year, and this year they're coming into it where they're kind of middle of the pack, and they're in this kind of interesting situation where they're trying to, at the same time, rebuild for the future, but also continue to try and go after it this year at the same time. And it's very, very tight between that 7th and that 4th spot between the Guelph Storm, between Flint, Saginaw, and Owen Sound. And trust me, the biggest difference between you being in 7th and playing Windsor the first round, potentially, if assuming they stay in 2nd, or you being in 4th and playing maybe Owen Sound or Saginaw, that is a huge difference, and you know that each point counts, and that's why that game against Sudbury the other night really hurts for Flint.
Absolutely. The puck is dropped, and we are underway for Battalion Hockey on a Sunday afternoon. At the blue line, North Bay trying to get it out of their zone. Hayes and Christopoulos battling right below the broadcast booth. It's pushed in. Kressler chasing it in, going up against Winslow. Puck knocked around in the area, and it comes to the circle for Bloom. Bloom gets it up to the blue line, but is shot back into the zone by the Firebirds. Picked up on the near side boards by Winslow. He gets it out of the zone. Deline is there. And Deline holding it behind his own blue line. Now he plays it forward again for Lombardi. Lombardi carrying it through the neutral zone. Tries to cut through both defenders, but Christopoulos got his stick on him and was able to jar him off the puck, and that's their first stoppage in play. 45 seconds into the first, no score.
And that's the guy we got to look at, Amadeus Lombardi. Man, what a guy. We talked about him in the pregame show, but basically, think of Kyle Jackson for the Flint Firebirds. That's essentially what he is. 89 points projected. He's already got 51 this year, 57 total last year in 67 games.
Face-off won by the Battalion, looking to move it out of the zone. It's stopped at the near side line, and Giroux sends it back in. Around behind the net, trying to chase it over. There is Lombardi. He throws McDonald into the boards, but Nelson has control of the puck for North Bay. He flips it around to the near side, kept in the zone by the Firebirds. Now it's taken away by Van Steensel in the corner and sent down the ice. Wakely coming down, try to move to the middle, but a nice job by Kuzmin to keep him to the outside. Down to the point is Hislop. Across the right side, Nelson. His shot gets blocked by Giroux, but the Battalion get the puck back along the end boards. It's shoveled along into the near side corner as McDonald's there for North Bay. He tries to find Wakely at the half boards. He pushes it back into the corner but it's Petrie who picks it off. He sends it around to the far side. Now Wakely picks it off for North Bay. Tries to play it back in behind the net. Gets blocked by Petrie, and that will allow the Firebirds to get the loose puck up to the blue line and carried out by Lombardi. He dumps it into the North Bay zone with almost 2 minutes gone to open the period. And the Battalion get it off Lombardi and send it out to the neutral zone where Zito comes down the ice, racing down the left wing side. Carrying it around behind the net. Goes to the far side boards, avoids a hit, but lost the puck in the process. And it's now carried out down the right wing side by Piercy. Riley Piercy into the near side corner. Holding it along the end boards now. Deep in the North Bay zone. Couple of guys digging away at it. Puck comes loose to the far side. And now sent out of the zone for Petrov. Matvei Petrov tried to get over the Firebirds blue line. Knocked away from his stick by Guriev. Petrov gets it back. He'll try the middle. Dishes it off to the right side. Now to the left side. Zito. Big shot in. And the save is made by Cranley. First official save of the game with 17:24 remaining in the first period.
Well, the Battalion catching up some games on Ottawa as they ended up losing their last game to Hamilton. But that's going to be kind of interesting. They're now 3 points behind the 67s. Both teams in action today. So a chance to get kind of a little bit closer to the top spot. And again, if you can get in that top seed, it's going to be better for if those two teams, Ottawa and North Bay, hit the finals, you get a home ice advantage, which is always a big thing.
Christopoulos to Romani. Shot coming in. Kick save made by Cranley as he pushes it to the near side boards. Goes into the corner. Now shoveled along the near side boards. Romani trying to move it to the middle. He finds Procession to the right side. Christopoulos back in front. And Darien could not bury that one. It came to a stick, but there was a little bit of traffic set up in front of him by the time he was able to get the shot off. And now it's the other way with DeLine coming in. He fires it in. It's kicked away by DeVincentis into the far side corner. Now it comes out in front of the net. There's a chance on net. Well, the kick save is made by the Battalion netminder. DeVincentis tested early there on his first official save of the game. Out of the zone, the Battalion bring it down the right wing side. Romani going in. Looks like a delayed call coming up here against the Firebirds. Romani in the corner, lost the puck. It's touched by, I believe, Bertucci there. And they're going to call a hook against the Firebirds.
I think it was a hold, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, you can tell Romani was being held up there by the Flint player. And a big start. We talk about how bad the power play has been for the Battalion, still 18th in the league. The interesting thing, Flint, not an amazing penalty kill. They're 11th overall. And it's going to be interesting. If they can get this power play on an early start, that'd be a big help for this Battalion team.
Flint penalty, number 61, Simon Stavicek, 2 minutes for holding the stick. Time of the
So holding the stick is the call.
Stavicek for holding the stick at 3:30.
Yeah, you're not allowed to do that, I hear. As we get underway here on the Battalion first power play of the game. Play inside the corner in the Firebird zone, and they cannot hold the zone, and it's sent down the ice by the Firebirds. And they almost turn it over in front of their own net. Ty Nelson almost gave it away, but now he recovers it, and he sends it up to Jackson. Sends it over the blue line, and they're going to call offside against North Bay, so they get an early power play here in the first period, but really struggling to find their rhythm here on this opportunity.
One of the biggest issues with the Battalion have always been on their power play zone entry. We see there Jackson trying to get a little bit too cute, trying to get it in there. Didn't like the way he went in. It's all about zone entry, and that's something that the Battalion have really struggled with, and they've got to start chip and chasing a little bit more than maybe just carrying it in, and we'll see if they can get anything going with 1:14 left.
And off the draw, it's sent by the Firebirds down into the North Bay zone. So Zito gets there first, and now he'll have to bring it all the way down the ice. Over the blue line, splits the D, then goes to the right side corner. He chips it along the boards to Wakely, who finds Winslow at the point. Back up to the right side boards to Wakely. Wakely in the circle. Flips it back to the blue line to Winslow. Now across to the right side, left side Zito. Zito back to Winslow in the middle. His shot is off Romani, and it redirects to Wakely on the right side. In the circle to Romani, he scores on the one-timer. Wakely to Zito, and the Battalion answer on the power play. It's 1-0.
Well, Matt, what did I say? It's all about zone entry, and we see Zito come in and start that off. And what does he do? He gets through the defense, and instead of trying to shoot that puck, instead of trying to make a transitional play, he holds the puck in and allows him to get set up. And then you see Romani there with a really nice finish, getting it past the blocker of Cranley. And what a great way for the Battalion to start this game. Not even 5 minutes in. This is the start they need. Now the big thing is, are they going to be able to play the full 60 minutes? Are they going to be able to keep this pressure on? But a great start for the Battalion in their power play.
Anthony Romani with his 12th goal of the season. 22 points on the year now for the Pickering, Ontario native, a third-round draft pick by the Battalion in 2021. And you're right, that's a fantastic way to start this game through the first few minutes. The Battalion have actually played really well against Western Conference opponents this year, coming into this game 8-4-1 in the 9 games they've played in total, in the 13 games, they've played in total against teams in the Western Conference. And so they are looking to keep that going. They beat a Western Conference team on Thursday as they hosted the Sioux in that 7-4 win, and they are right now on a 5-game winning streak, exactly what you want as we move past the trade deadline, even though they didn't make any moves at the deadline. But you know, that's the time when you want to see teams really start to gel, as you don't have any opportunity now to add to your team.
And we talked about getting McDonald and Winslow back right near that trade deadline. That was kind of their version of a trade deadline. Again, Adam Dennis went out, and he got guys like Bloom. He got Zito. He made his moves early, and that really helped him out.
14:35 to play in the first period. It's 1-0 North Bay, but here come the Firebirds. The line with a shot, and it's off the shoulder of DeVincentis, and it's picked up on the far side boards by McDonald, and he'll carry it out of the zone. Gets it up to Van Steensel. Now back to McDonald on the left wing. He centers it, and the shot by Wakely is wide, and then Van Steensel was there for the rebound, and he can't bury it. Now it comes out of the zone, and Hislop will chase it down the ice. holding it behind the net. He sends it around to the near side to Nelson. Nelson to the blue line to McDonald. And McDonald will look to carry it down the ice. He gets up to the blue line and dumps it, and now that line will change. The Firebirds will look to take control of it in their own zone. Sending it up ahead to Kressler. He dumps it down the ice. It's off the end boards right towards Steven Sentis, and he'll just hold on to it. A bit of a quick whistle there. I think Steven Sentis wanted to play it out, but now they'll have to win the defensive zone faceoff.
One of the things that the Firebirds are doing really well is that they're really forechecking hard with either 1 to 2 man pressure in the offensive zone, and it's causing the Battalion, who have the puck in their own defensive zone, to make some mistakes. And we'll see if that will lead to a goal or some great chances. But yeah, been pretty sloppy in the defensive zone so far for the Battalion.
Piercy in the neutral zone for the Firebirds. Drops it back to his own blue line, and now they send it forward. Christopoulos will have to chase it off the boards in behind his own net in the North Bay zone. He's got it there. Now he sends it forward to Petrov. Petrov, they're saying he never got a piece of the puck, as they're going to call icing against that Christopoulos dump out attempt. So 13:27 to go in the first period. North Bay ahead 1-0.
One of the lines to keep an eye out for, though, is definitely going to be that third line with Petrov, Zeno, and Tarasevic. They had such a good game against the Sioux a couple days ago, and I think if they have another good game, and assuming, depending on when Arnsby comes back, it's going to make Oulahen's life really difficult in terms of where he wants to place them with Arnsby's return, but just something to keep an eye out.
Piercy off the draw, fires it just wide of the net. Picked up on the near side boards, now to line. Guriev sends it in, deflected, and again it just goes wide. Looked like that was Petrie set up in front of the net. Now it's to the left side point, and none able to hold the line was Blake Smith. Juggled with the puck at the line, so offside is the call as he tried to fool the officials to bring that puck back in over. 13:10 to go in the first. 1-0 North Bay.
DiVincentis, man, he's been pretty solid so far in this game. The thing that's nice about him is pretty much any save that he should make, generally he will make. And when you have that kind of confidence in your goaltender, it helps out quite a bit when you know he's going to make the saves he should be.
Battalion fire the puck down the ice, and they're going to call icing. And that's where the rule is a little bit tricky. So they send it down the left wing side. Bloom is way ahead of everybody. So as it goes past the goal line, he's the first guy back there. But it ricochets off the end boards and goes around to the far side. And the Flint player coming into the zone is the first to touch the puck.
Yeah.
So they call the icing.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. And that's a set play, too. You can tell they shot that down because Bloom has a lot of speed. And that time should have been no icing, but it gets called against him.
And I have to reread the official rule there because sometimes some officials will say if you beat the puck as it goes to the goal line, then you just wave off the icing. Others will say, no, if they touch the puck first.
It might be one of those gray rules, too. It looks like we're going to get I think it's a trip. Yeah, it's going to be a trip for Kennedy there as he trips up the Flint player in the defensive zone. So now we're going to get a chance with the 11th ranked power play versus the 16th ranked, the 16th ranked power play versus the 11th ranked penalty kill of the Battalion.
I think I had those numbers backwards there on you.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm just going by what they write.
No, North Bay's penalty kill is first in the league.
Oh, there we go. Somebody put an extra one in there.
Yeah.
That's what I thought too, but they do lead in shorthanded goals as well.
First in the league on the kill, first in the league in shorthanded goals. 2 for 5 different guys.
I thought they got really bad
and
on the
they
penalty.
almost had one there as the goaltender Cranley almost gave it right to Van Steensel, but he was coming in with speed and just could not get the puck to settle down on his stick, and then he wiped out as his eyes must have grown 3 sizes there as it was like there is a gift, but he just could not corral it. So 12 minutes to go in the first period, 1:10 to go as the Firebirds have really not had any zone time here on this power play. Kressler brings it over the line to the far side boards. It's chipped away off the stick by Zito, and now it's Tarasevic chasing it down the ice, gains the attacking zone. He tried to drive it back to Zito, but they weren't able to convert on that pass attempt, and now it's picked up by Lombardi, and he will head the other way. Lombardi coming in on the right side, going into the corner. Now he's met by a couple of green jerseys. They fire to line. Petrie keeps it in, lays it to the left side to Bertucci, now to Petrie, fires it in. DiVincentis makes a save. The rebound comes back to the half boards. Petrie is there, plays it below the goal line. Now it's back up high to Bertucci. Bertucci lost it to Tarasevic, and he's got a breakaway. Tarasevic all alone, scores! Make it 11 shorthanded goals for the Battalion, and Tarasevic makes it 2-0 for the home side.
That was about his third opportunity to score a goal in this penalty kill so far. Tarasevic was all over it, and the one thing the Battalion have that a lot of teams don't is very, very good team speed, and that's why they have so many shorthanded goals. You see Tarasevic, that puck comes loose, and he's pretty much man-to-man right at the Battalion blue line, and he beats him out, and then he goes, I believe it was 5-0 on Cranley there to give them another shorthanded goal. And yeah, it's the speed. That's why they're so good on the penalty kill, scoring some shorthanded goals. And you see guys with Zito, Petrov, Bloom, Tarasevic, all these people are incredibly fast.
That is Tarasevic's third shorthanded goal of the season, his 12th goal, 11th goal overall on the year. And man, Tarasevic, you're right, he is a weapon that the Battalion can utilize on those penalty kills, reminiscent of Barclay Goodrow in the troops' first year here in North Bay. 10:45 to play, Battalion lead 2-0, and we're back to 5 on play as well. So really, that power play for the Firebirds just resulted in better opportunities for the North Bay Battalion. So now they'll look to reset 5 on 5. But the troops now control the puck in the zone. It's knocked away off a stick, and it is carried out by Piercy. He dumps it down the ice, and the North Bay Battalion will look to bring it out. A couple of guys going in high on the forecheck for the Firebirds, but the Battalion able to skate away from that. At the blue line, it's kept in the zone. Petrie fires it in wide of the net, and now it's played on the far side boards by Piercy. Comes around on the near side, kicked back over to the far side, and Romani had it. Nelson ran into him, but Romani's able to get the pass out over the blue line, and now it's flipped ahead to Petrov. Coming in over the blue line on the left wing side, the shot in on Cranley, and it's off his glove, and it just sat on the blue paint before the Firebirds defense could clear that out of the area, and now they do clear it out of the zone. So Cranley juggling things a little bit and a little wobbly on that glove save with 9:40 to go in the first period. It looks like the Battalion have his number right now in this contest. Dumped down the ice, it goes over the glass and out of play, and we will take a break, and then we'll get Derek from down below and get his thoughts on the first period.
This period is brought to you by Canada Alumni Perks. Get information on special events and news, or access the Alumni Job Portal. Visit canadacollege.ca/perks for more information.
Derek, halfway through the first, the Battalion up 2-0. Thanks to that shorthanded goal by Tarasevic.
Yeah, Matt, really good first period so far for the North Bay Battalion, getting out to a 2-0 lead due to the specialty team, picking up that power play goal. But the area of focus on the North Bay Battalion is that penalty kill. They sit on top of the OHL with penalty kills, but you got to look at shorthanded numbers on goals for. Battalion leading all ways now with 11 shorthanded goals for after that one by Tarasevic. Just the way they pressure the puck when they're shorthanded is so much above everyone else in the league. Unbelievable pressure and really doing a good job in front of the net for Dom DiVincentis, making sure you can see everything his way. We're in for an exciting final 9:34 here in the first period. Matt, back up to you.
Thanks very much, Derek. And like you said, Ben, it is that team speed on the penalty kill that really is such an advantage for the North Bay Battalion.
Yeah, and they use it all the time. Even on 5-on-5, the speed is something that puts the Battalion above other teams when it comes to offensive prowess.
So play back underway as the Battalion lead 2-0 with 9:13 to play in the first period. Fired around to the far side boards. McDonald flips it up out to the neutral zone. Van Steense was there. He's shoved hard right into the bench, or right into the boards in front of the benches, and then they call a hand pass to blow the play down. 9:03 to go, 2-0 North Bay.
Well, about 11 minutes in, and I honestly will say this is the best I think we've seen the Battalion play recently, and at least for our broadcast, and it's been very good. They've made a couple of defensive zone mistakes. DiVincentis has looked good on defense, but and goal and net, but what I find is that they're playing crisp, they're playing really well in the offensive zone, they're taking their opportunities, and I think they're the better team in the first 11 minutes, just even with being up 2-0, they're just playing better.
The Battalion getting the puck out of the zone. Bloom into the middle of the ice to Ertl. He sends it down the left wing side. Stoikov is there to push it back to the half boards, but the Battalion regain the puck in that area. They send it to the far side, just out of the reach of Nelson, and he'll have to chase it down in the neutral zone. Nelson turns and puts on the Jets and sends it down into the Firebird zone. The puck is corralled by the Firebirds, and they send it out of the zone. Nelson, again back there, is able to push it forward, back over the blue line. Now it comes out again. Carrying it down the ice is Giroux, draws it back to Petrie, the shot. DiVincentis makes a save, sends it to the far side boards. It's picked up by Lombardi. Across to the near side, that's Kuzmin. Kuzmin puts it through behind his back and then through the legs, carries it to the corner and try to put it in the middle, but the Battalion snuffed that chance out. That was a really nice move by Kuzmin, but it didn't result in anything. And Kuzmin now lost it at the blue line as they try to get back in the zone. Off a couple of skates in the neutral zone, bouncing around. Lombardi trying to control it just in front of the blue line. His pass to the far side is blocked by Romani of the Battalion. And now Romani skates back to the near side, sends it to the far side. Kennedy back to the near side. Romani lost it, played off the boards. Lombardi trying to push it forward. He fires it up to Petrie, and Petrie's able to skate into the zone with it. Going into the corner, he battles with Kennedy in that area. Procession jumps in, and he finds the puck. Sends it down the right wing for Romani. Romani trying to get it out. Lost it in the zone. The Firebirds driving it towards the net. Now they go in. They send her in. DiVincentis with a kick save, and the Battalion clear it out of the area. And it's stolen. Here comes Terrien, the shot, and it's just wide. Terrien beat two defenders to the puck in the high slot and got a short and breakaway, but just could not bury that one. Wow, the Firebirds are having some huge lapses defensively through the first 13 minutes of this game.
Yeah, I think that's gone kind of on both ways. The difference, though, is that Cranley's not making the saves DiVincentis is making, and the Battalion are taking advantage of these opportunities, but both teams have been relatively sloppy in their defensive zones.
Bradshaw coming in. Lost it at the blue line. Zito on the far side boards for the Battalion. Doesn't have a lane, so he plays it back behind his blue line. Sent across in the near side to Turley. Turley sends it to Petrov. Petrov loses it off the boards. And it's going the other way with Slavicek sending it into the North Bay zone. It's sent around to the near side boards. That's Slavicek there. He picks it up. Carries it down to the blue line. Now backhands it back along the end boards. The Battalion and the Firebirds both battling for it back there. Aspinall sends it in front. Turning, firing, save made. Rebound is just high over the crossbar. The Battalion survive another good effort in the offensive zone by the Firebirds. And the Battalion are able to get it out of the zone, and the Firebirds pick it up in the neutral zone and send it right back in. Here they come again into the slot. Petrie is tripped up, and that will be a penalty coming up against Hislop with 5:45 to play in the first period. 2-0 North Bay lead.
Well, we talked again about the sloppiness in the defensive zone. For the Flint Firebirds, it's been sloppiness in the transition game and allowing these kind of semi-breakaways. With the Battalion, it's been how they've played with their puck kind of below and around the goal line. They're not able to get rid of it, and the Flint Firebirds are a very aggressive team. They've been having an aggressive forecheck. They force you to have problems and have issues in their Battalion are giving up pucks a little bit too much, and DiVincentis is working a little too hard.
5:38 to go. As the Battalion send it down the ice. Icing called. And now I remember Cranley in his days with the Ottawa 67s. Back in the 21-22 season, he got into 5 games against the North Bay Battalion in the head-to-head series against Ottawa. He went 3-2-0 with a 2.39 goals against average and a 906 save percentage. I remember he battled in those games, and there were a couple of games where he was the better goaltender on that night back in the 21-22 season. But obviously a trade to the Flint Firebirds has him seeing the Battalion for the first time this year. Now here comes Wakely over the blue line, and he goes offside.
Yeah, you were talking about Cranley there. Absolutely fantastic rookie season in his first year with Ottawa with a sub-3 goals against average. And then he just kind of went up. He's into kind of like the mid-threes. And again, he's a guy that he's not necessarily going to steal you too many games. He'll steal you one here and there, but he's not really going to lose you a lot of games. But his last couple of games have been very rough. He's given up 6 goals in 3 straight starts, and it's not looking too promising with 2 in the first 15 minutes.
Down the right wing side, McDonald fires it at Cranley, and it's off his shoulder and high. Yeah, he's a guy that he's played a lot against the Battalion. Back in the 1920 season, he got into 4 games, and he was 3-1 against the Troops with a 1.76 goals against average, although that Troops team was a lot different than this Troops team today.
It's kind of hard to think that this team wasn't very good a few years ago, and then last year they really surprised a lot of people getting all the way to the finals, and this year it's kind of the same thing. Like they're really kind of showing that they're for real.
Yeah, that was Captain Liam Arnsby's first year in the league in the 1920 season. Really just a couple of guys left over from that team that are on this team today. Liam Arnsby, Paul Christopoulos is one of them. 4:50 to go in the first period. 2-0 North Bay lead. Kressler bringing the puck down the ice. Centers it, and they score. Nolan Dan rifles it in off the one-timer, and just like that, the Firebirds are within a goal. It's 2-1.
First scoring opportunity for the Firebirds where they're able to kind of get the puck east to west there. And not a good job from the Battalion. Nobody's there to pick them up, but there were 2 Battalion on the right players. And yeah, unfortunately for DiVincentis, he gives one up, and the Firebirds right back into it. It's going to be a battle all night long. This isn't going to be a game where you're easily going to have you're going to stomp all over the Firebirds. So
yeah, 4:44 to play, 2-1 the score. Derek, how have things maybe shifted in attitude on the bench here? The Battalion were looking comfortable up 2-0, but now it's 2-1.
Yeah, Flint getting a little bit of life after that goal. A little bit of breakdown on the defensive side in the neutral zone as the F3 is not getting back in time to pick up the Flint Firebirds player. But you know what? Things are looking good still. They're still up 2-1, and they're going to continue applying some pressure here and see if they can get some momentum back in this final 4 minutes of this first period, Matt.
Thanks, Derek. And Derek will be upstairs rejoining us for the first period intermission following the conclusion of this first 20 minutes. 4:30 to go with a 2-1 lead for the North Bay Battalion. Played down on the near side boards to Kennedy. He sends it up to Nelson, who carries it out of the zone. Over to the right side to Erdl. Erdl centers it for Bloom. Bloom back in front to the left side, and it just goes wide. Redirected off the stick of Kyle Jackson, who almost buried it. 4:10 to go as the Firebirds come back in on the return. Lombardi's shot is stopped. Rebound chance comes in front of the net, but it's steered away by the defense of the Battalion, but they can't clear it out of the zone. On the far side boards, that's Petrie there. It gets knocked off his stick, and it ends up on the blade of Jackson, and Jackson is able to dump it down into the Firebird zone, but it's controlled back behind the net by Bertucci. He sends it to the near side corner, throws a hit on Erdl, who finds the puck. Erdl plays it to the half boards to Jackson. Jackson tries to feed it to the point, but that's blocked by the Firebirds, and they get it out ahead to Lombardi. Lombardi over the blue line, over-skated the puck there, has to get out of the zone. Kuzmin picks up the puck. He goes in, but the rest of the Firebirds line hadn't retreated yet, so offside is the call with 3:30 to go in the first period. 2-1 North Bay.
Well, we talked about Dimitri Kuzmin. You said he made a beautiful play earlier, like a little dangle. This guy in 39 games, 37 points. He's third in the team right now in points, just under a point per game player. 28 of those points are assists, 9 goals. He's been a very big point getter for the Flint Firebirds here in the first half and a bit of the season.
Yeah, they've got quite a few guys, a handful of guys that are over 30 points this season. And then, as we mentioned, Lombardi already over 50 points on the year as well. But again, you wonder where they might be had they hung on to Brendan Hoffman, who was traded after, only 20 games into the season or around there?
And D'Amato, another guy who's been a big point producer.
3 minutes to go in the first period. North Bay up 2-1. The puck is inside the Firebird zone, and they clear out to the neutral zone. Now Tarasevic carries it down the right wing side, going in below the circle, fires it. It's off the body of Cranley. Tarasevic finds the puck behind the net. He got tied up back there, and the Firebirds get the puck away from him, and they carry it down the ice. On the left wing side, it's Hayes. He sends it in towards DiVincentis. He just quickly gloves it and then plays it behind the net as Hislop gets it out to Zito. Zito in the neutral zone, gets it to Romani. Romani tried to find Petrov. Petrov kicked it off his skate, and it's picked up by the Firebirds, who send it down the ice. On the right wing side, going in is Ethan Hay. He sends it around to the far side boards. Nobody there for the Firebirds, and the Battalion chip it out. 2:15 to go. The Battalion forced a turnover coming down the ice. The shot, save made, and then kicked away by the goaltender Cranley. In the near side corner. Behind the net procession there. Looking for a little bit of support, but getting the puck is Hayes, and Hay sends it down the ice, and that will be icing called against the Flint Firebirds with 1:57 to go. The Battalion are being outshot 13-11, but they have a 2-1 lead.
Yeah, and we talk about why the Firebirds are so good offensively. They apply a lot of pressure. They force a lot of turnovers in the offensive zone, and they're a very offensively minded team, but they struggle defensively. They struggle. We've seen this where a couple of pucks have bounced off Battalion players. When you have so many people, when you have one or two people who are always forechecking, you have fewer people in the defensive zone, and it's something that their transition defense isn't as strong, and that's kind of where they struggle. You get offense, but they struggle in defense, and that's been the big thing for the last few games for the Flint Firebirds.
North Bay won the draw, but they played it below the goal line, and the Firebirds very quickly got control of the puck and sent it out. Whipped back into the zone, and the Firebirds cleared again quickly. Petrie dumps it in. Picked up again by McDonald for the Battalion, and he skates through the zone, cuts to the right side, in over the blue line, and then at the very end of that foray into the zone, he just lost the handle of the puck as he tried to get the shot off. The puck goes into the corner, now comes back out, shot on net by Van Steensel, and it's up high. It comes back down on the near side, picked up by the Firebirds, and they send it down the ice. McDonald's getting called here behind the play as the Firebirds move the puck into the zone, touched by Nelson of the Battalion, and as he does so, the whistle goes to call boarding against the big man for the Battalion, Kyle McDonald. 1:05 remaining in the period, and the Firebirds have a chance to even things up. However, they are -1 on their penalty, their power play opportunities. Yeah,
it looked like McDonald there just behind the play, and not a super clean hit gets called for boarding there. Could have potentially been an interference call as well, no matter which way you want to call it. But yeah, Battalion. So far, the Firebirds 0 for 1 with a shorthanded goal given up. So
Giroux plays it down low. Now back to Giroux on the near side circle across the far side. DeLine with a shot coming in, deflected just wide. Playing the near side corner, Christopoulos with it. Trying to get away from Hayes. Petrie down there as well as that scrimmage continues. It's up to the line, kept in the zone, couple of hard stick checks. Wakely gets it up ahead to Tarasevich. 2-on-1 the other way. Tarasevich plays it back to Christopoulos, and then Christopoulos got tied up going in the zone. Now it's a 2-on-1 the other way as the Firebirds clear. Down the ice, they get it in towards Steven Chentis, and he smothers it for the stoppage of play. But the Battalion did not like how close that Firebirds player got to Steven Chentis after he covered the puck, and some hits thrown in the corner after the whistle goes.
Wakely did a great job of back-checking there, not giving a clean lane for a pass over to get in right in the high slot for that kind of play, and forced a shot on DiVincentis who makes an easy save. That's one of those things when you have a game where you can transition up on the penalty kill, you got to make sure you get back there, and Wakely does a good job stopping an odd man rush.
25.9 seconds remaining in the period.
It looks like we might be getting some penalties here as the referee is sending two people, maybe coincidental, or they're kicking them. We'll see. The Wakely's going off the ice. I believe both players, Wakely and Giroux, are going off the ice. So hard to see what happened in that scrum. We don't know if there was words exchanged, if what happened there, but they're going to be kicked off for the rest of the period. It looks like a 4-on-4, 4-on-3. Oh, it looks like we're still going to be 5-on-4, is what they're saying. Hard to count, but the referee now talking to Oulahen, and he's kind of asking for an explanation. Looks a little animated on the bench, maybe not too happy about that, but.
Yeah, we'll have to see what the call is. Unsportsmanlike, both sides. Yeah. Okay.
So we'll see if.
Maybe misconduct or. Okay, just 2 each. But because there's only 25 seconds left, I guess they send them to the box so that they don't get reanimated in the box, right? There's a chance in front of the net. Off the backhand, they lift it off the crossbar, and it stays out. The Firebirds had DiVincentis down and beat, but they could not get it in the back of the net. Now Lombardi driving again, plays it to the slot, cleared away, but not far. The Firebirds with another chance in the slot to the near side. Piercy can't bury it. And boy, saved by the bell there. The Battalion just getting out of the first period with a 1-goal lead.
Well, they talk about how you need to have a little luck to be a goaltender, and DiVincentis is very thankful for that crossbar. That was a play where that was kind of DiVincentis' fault. He gives up kind of a bad rebound when he should have probably smothered it and puts himself in a really bad spot. But that Flint player had the entire net open. Could have put it on the ice, could have put it up anywhere, and where does he do? He tries to lift it, hits off the crossbar, and the Battalion somehow are coming out of this period with a lead.
But they are going to be down by a man when the second period begins, as there's still 55 seconds remaining on the penalty to McDonald. We will be back, and Derek and Ben will bring you our first period intermission. You're watching the Average Joe's Game Day broadcast right here on the Frontline Broadcast YouTube channel.
Average Joe's Eatery and Patio Bar is North Bay's only year-round lakefront restaurant. On the shores of beautiful Trout Lake, we have been serving delicious food and stunning views since 1999. Indulge in one of our delicious menu items, or simply sit with a cocktail in hand and watch the beauty of Trout Lake before your eyes. Check us out online at averagejoes.net or visit us in person at 3501 Trout Lake Road, North Bay.
As a Canadore College alumni, you have access to perks. Canadore Alumni Perks. This is a lifetime membership that includes special access to great offers, opportunities to get involved, and so much more. Graduates can access discounts and special offers from businesses and hotels locally, across Canada, and internationally. Get information on special events and news, or access the alumni job portal. Keep in touch with Canadore's alumni office. Visit canadorecollege.ca/perks. Great things happen here.
You rely on your vehicle to take you to the places that matter most to you. So bring your vehicle to the team you can rely on to keep it running at its best. Dave's Automotive Services. Whether you're getting your car or truck ready for the season with a tire change, making sure you're safe on the road with an inspection and certification, or doing your due diligence to keep your vehicle in tip-top shape with regular maintenance, Dave's Automotive Services has you covered. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect when you bring your car or truck to Dave's Automotive Services at 411 Airport Road. Call 705-478-5544 and book your appointment today.
The Frontline Podcast, Season 3. Courtney Kenny, Matthew Sukrum, Derek Lindemann, Bob Coles, and Ben Long bring you closer your favorite teams like never before. Covering everything to do with hockey in the North Bay area, exclusive interviews with the North Bay Battalion staff and players, expert analysis on the OHL, NOJHL, and more, keeping you up to date on all things Voodoos, Trappers, Lakers, and more. It's a new season, it's a new adventure. The Frontline Podcast Season 3. Available wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
And welcome back inside North Bay Memorial Gardens as you are watching Battalion Hockey here on Average Joe's Game Day broadcast, brought to you by the Frontline, where the North Bay Battalion lead the Flint Firebirds by a score of 2-1 through 20 minutes of play. Let's take a look at how that scorer got there. Anthony Romani opened up the scoring at 4:47 on the power play, his 12th of the season from Dallin Wakely and Avery Winslow. That lead got extended to 2 as Nikita Tarasevich, his 11th of the season, shorthanded at 8:40. Finally, the Flint Firebirds eventually do get on the score sheet at 15-16 as Nolan Dan, his seventh of the season, broke the goose egg from Kressler and Hayes. Shots in that first period favored the Firebirds 15-12 over the Battalion. Battalion were 1 for 1 on the man advantage. Meanwhile, the Flint Firebirds were 0 for 2. Taking a look around the OHL on this Sunday afternoon, a few other games going on currently. After one period of play in London, the Knights trail the Windsor Spitfires by a score of 2-0. In Mississauga, the Steelheads are trailing the Barrie Colts 4-2. The Sarnia Sting are in Ottawa to take on the 67s. That game still scoreless through one period of play. And late in the first period in Sudbury, the Wolves lead the Greyhounds 1-0. Later tonight, the Flint Firebirds will be hosting the Kitchener Rangers. Wow, after some time, we're finally going to get to hear that clip of Ryan Oulahen as he talks about what it means to him to coach against his previous team, the Flint Firebirds, for the first time.
Quick thought on Flint. They're a good team and a good conference. They're on the road tonight in Barrie. They're coming here on Sunday. well rest. You guys will have a lot of rest between now and then, but they should be a good challenge.
They will be. Yeah, this is going to be exciting for our guys to play a really, really good hockey team. Not that, other teams aren't, but probably a Flint team that, they could be up there in the top 2 or 3 of the Western Conference, believe it or not, when you look at their roster. So looking forward to playing them. Of course, I'm looking forward to playing them as well.
Actually, I lied. I do have one on that note. So, I mean, you coached them against them as an interim coach, and I don't think you faced them ever since, obviously, due to everything happening. But how, as a player, you want to beat your former team. As a coach, is it the same way?
Well, believe it or not, I have never coached against them.
Oh, I thought you had it.
So, yeah, I mean, I had a lot of great times, when I was in Flint for sure, but yeah, it's a little special one for me. But I don't want to take that away from the fact that it's a hockey game against a good team.
Is there anybody in the organization that was there when you were there? I don't think so.
There is not.
Yeah, so it makes it a little bit different though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it totally does. It's so. It's just one of those, again, I give them a lot of credit. They're a really, really good hockey team, a team that went to the Western Conference Final last year for a reason. A lot of the same players back. It should be a really good game on Sunday.
Will there be money on the board?
And that was Oulahen talking after the game Thursday night about playing his former team, the Flint Firebirds. Oulahen talking about how this Flint Firebird could be one of the top 2 teams in the Western Conference. I heard briefly on the Flint broadcast that that's probably the best 20 minutes he's seen the Firebirds play probably in the last month.
Yeah, the Firebirds looked really, really solid in that period. I mean, obviously, I think Cranley, the 2 goals he gave up were kind of ones that, he could have probably saved. They weren't, obviously one on the breakaway and another was kind of a shot from near the top of the circle from on the power play. But would you believe it? This is a team where the Battalion actually have 2 goals on special teams. One on the power play, one on the penalty kill. But the Flint Firebirds have done a great job with offensive zone pressure, forcing the Battalion to make some mistakes in their own defensive zone, even when there shouldn't. Normally teams wouldn't pressure as much. And then on top of that, they've also looked very good on that last power play. We're so close to tying this game up going into the first break.
Yeah, the Firebirds will still have 55 seconds on that penalty at the end to start the second period. As you said, the Firebirds did hit the crossbar as they had that yawning cage to look at. Unfortunately, that one just ringing the iron there. But when you look at the Battalion specialty teams, 11 shorthanded goals now for the North Bay Battalion, tops of the OHL. They really like it when they get shorthanded.
Yeah, and I was talking about this during the first period, was when Tarasevic scored that goal, it's the speed that they have. When you looked at that play, you had 2 Firebirds who were at at their offensive blue line. You have Tarasevic at his defensive blue line, and he blows by everybody for basically a clean breakaway. And that's the kind of speed that the Battalion have that can create these opportunities. We also saw another rush later on in this current power play where we saw where they gave up the puck and Wakely had to make a really nice forecheck to get back there to block the passing zone to keep it from being an odd man rush. So not just are they able to use their speed to create these offensive chances, but they're also able to use their speed to, when they have these offensive chances, to kind of get back and keep those odd man rushes from happening.
That's one of the things that you deal with when you're playing on the sword of living with your speed on the penalty kill, is you might create those opportunities, a 3-on-2, but if you turn that puck over, it's coming back your way and it's going to be an odd man rush, which we've seen there. Good thing Wakely used his speed to get back there. But when you're in that offensive zone, especially on the power play, you've got to make those passes fast. If the Battalion smell even the fear of that slow pass, they're going to jump on it and get that puck down the ice, or even try and create an opportunity off of that, off of the short man.
And how many times in that period did we see a puck from the Flint trying to get it out of their own zone, hit off a Battalion body or hit something, and all of a sudden give the Battalion a chance? They're doing a good job of getting their bodies in front and forcing Flint to make mistakes. On the other side, the Flint Firebirds are kind of doing the same thing to the Battalion. However, what they're doing is they're pressuring when the puck is deep, when they're by the goal line in their own zone. And that's something that I don't think the Battalion are used to that, and they haven't seen that in a while. And I wonder, it's going to be interesting coming into the next 20 minutes to see if their defensive game adjusts because of that. Now that Oulahen can go into the room here on the break and say, okay, guys, this is what they're trying to do. Let's try to tighten it up a little bit.
The power play goal ironically came off of the second unit. The first unit wasn't really able to get any sustained time in the offensive zone. Meanwhile, the second unit comes out, and almost immediately they get Romani set up for that one-timer. It almost looked like he was aiming that shot for a tip in front, but it was just a perfect spot over the pad of Cranley, and it's not expected that you see the second unit such as that come through in the crunch time.
Yeah, and another thing we were talking about during that power play was just the fact that the one thing that Battalion struggle with on the power play is zone entry. They struggle getting the puck into the zone and getting possession and allowing their power play to set up. And so once the opposing team is able to get the puck into the zone, they struggle to kind of get that momentum back. What I found, though, in that is if you looked at it, it was Zito who brought that puck in to that zone. Instead of trying to shoot it or make a play, he brought it into the corner, allowed that play to develop, and Romani ended up getting the goal. And that's the kind of stuff we need to see more of. They have the goal scorers. If you look at their power play, if you look at the potential goal scoring there, it's just they got to get pucks into the zone. They've got to establish that rotation that they have going. And once they did it, they got a goal.
Yeah, it's that initial setup in the offensive zone that's really hurting on the power play unit. One of the things, though, that I was not happy with was the offensive pressure 5-on-5. I don't think the Battalion really got established for any extended period in 5-on-5 situations against the Firebirds in that first.
Yeah, most of their opportunities came in transition, and they weren't necessarily set up in their own zone. And I agree with you. And you look at the difference is that look at how many opportunities the Firebirds have gotten on DiVincentis this afternoon because they pressured on the forecheck, because they were able to create these opportunities. And I think that's kind of a big difference. But the difference, however, right now is that the Battalion are taking advantage of those special teams, and DiVincentis has really done a great job with 14 saves on 15 shots so far.
Yeah, like I said, the Firebirds are out shooting the North Bay Battalion 15-12, winning more of the face-offs. Two key areas that really pay attention to on the score sheet, but don't really reflect in the score itself.
Yeah, and face-offs are one of those intangibles that are super important. If you're in the defensive zone and you win a face-off, you stop a scoring chance, right? If you're in the offensive zone and you win a face-off, you gain a scoring chance. And that's the stuff that it doesn't seem like it's a big deal, but it can create the little things that can shift the way a game works. And I think that's such a big deal for both these teams. And right now, face-offs are something that are obviously a big focus for both teams.
So if you're head coach of the Spirit, Ted Dent, what are you telling your Flint Firebird players in the dressing room?
I think they've got to maintain the offensive zone pressure that they've been doing. They've got to create a couple more opportunities, and they've got to start moving DiVincentis east-west. A lot of the shots have been just straight, and DiVincentis has had body position, but we saw that one opportunity where on the power play where the crossbar saved DiVincentis from his own mistake of giving up a bad rebound. But we need to see more east-west movement. And DiVincentis is not looking super comfortable in this game, moving side to side. And if they can make that happen, they're going to get some goals. And in terms of defense, they just need if they have that offensive zone pressure, they need to do a little bit better job of backing up and getting back on the back check.
Yeah, Will Cranley is no slouch in goal. He is an overager, and he's a player that could steal a game for them. He'll definitely try and keep the Firebirds in this game no matter as long as it takes, as it's only a one-goal difference going into the second period. Oulahen, how is he switching things up, do you see, coming out into the second?
I think you're going to see a much better defensive zone game, or you would hope that he's going to see they're going to see guys move the puck a lot faster. You're going to see some more help coming up. But the big thing is trying to get that zone entry and setting up plays, setting offensive zone pressure. You want to put the Firebirds on their heels. You're already up 2-1. You want to pressure them into getting into a 3-1 lead, and then continue holding that lead by putting it in their zone and not giving them a lot of shots on DiVincentis. 15 shots, it's not a whole lot of shots, but it does feel like the Firebirds are putting a lot of pucks on net when really they shouldn't be, and they need to tighten up defensively.
Yeah, like getting back to 5-on-5 play, it's almost like they really haven't been able to get into the flow of the game between their teammates, their line mates, and just trying to get that transition game going forward. They're dumping the puck in, getting one opportunities. Cranley's making a save, and it's coming right back out. There's no sustained cycle, no sustained pressure, offensive pressure. I think it's that 5-on-5 game that the Battalion have to step up if they want to continue, especially into the second period against a team like Flint that really has a lot of firepower that they can put the puck in the back of the net.
Yeah, and you know what else starts with? It starts with that top line, and that top line not super impressive in that first period. They had maybe one or two legitimate opportunities, and we talked about how important it is for guys like Jackson, Bloom, and Ertles to get it going and kind of lead the way. And so far it feels like it's been Petrov and Zito and Tarasevich, McDonald and Wakely, and those guys who have been and even the fourth line with Procession and Terry and Romani getting these opportunities, that top line needs to step up and create some offensive zone pressure, offensive zone opportunities, and second chances. And that's going to be a big key going into the next 40 minutes if they want to hold on to this lead.
Yeah, I don't recall really any length of time where you hear Matt Sukrum or yourself talking about how one line is really dominating the offensive pressure, zone time. It's always about how they're performing in the defensive zone. They got to start carrying the play, especially in the offensive zone, and they can start that by coming out here, getting that penalty kill, getting some momentum, and taking over the play offensively. When we come back, Matt Sukrum will rejoin Ben Sargent for all of your second period action here on the Frontline broadcast, as it's the North Bay Battalion leading the Flint Firebirds 2-1 through one period of play.
Meals are a special time for families to gather, share their day, and spend quality time together. Those dinners are made extra special when you add tropical produce found in the markets and grocery stores that carry La Huerta imports. La Huerta knows the importance of family, so they know which quality products make the best quality meals for your customers, whether it be Mexican Hass avocados, Brazilian figs, Ecuadorian red dragon fruit, or something just as exotic and special. To get your supply of the best tropical produce at competitive prices with brands buyers trust, contact La Huerta Imports at 705-752-1478.
Community engagement is one of our core focuses at McDonald's. The key is finding the right people who are passionate about the same things we are, helping kids be kids. McDonald's proudly supports local organizations such as the North Bay Regional Health Center Foundation, Big Brothers Big Sisters, One Kids Place, the Children's Aid Society, and Ronald McDonald House Charities. Stop by McDonald's on 1500 Fisher Street, North Bay, to see how we can serve you and the community every day.
Hey there, I'm Mike the Financial Advisor. When you strip it down to its core and you take away all the industry jargon, I help people solve financial concerns. So if you're concerned that you'll never save enough to retire comfortably, or that your kid is going to graduate post-secondary $40,000 in debt, or maybe even that life is going to take a really unfortunate sideways turn and somebody is going to have to open a GoFundMe page for you and your family, I can help you prevent all of those things from happening. If you want to see how, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Just do a search for Mike the Financial Advisor. You should find me.
Welcome back. Matthew Sukrum with you here alongside Ben Sargent. It's a 2-1 lead for the North Bay Battalion as we get ready to start the second period, but the Battalion have 55 seconds remaining on the penalty kill, and Wakely and McDonald are still in the box for North Bay, while Giroux is in the box for the Flint Firebirds. But Ben, I think for the North Bay Battalion, they might have been maybe caught by surprise a little bit by the Firebirds' speed throughout that first period.
Yeah, it's going to be all about offensive zone pressure, and I think for the Battalion, they haven't faced a team this good in quite a while. They've been playing a lot of Barrie, a lot of Sudbury, a lot of Oshawa, Sioux, so it's going to be interesting to see how they come out here in this second period.
Yeah, it's certainly a different team structure that the Firebirds have compared to those other teams, right?
And you got to be a little bit worried about that Windsor game at the end of the month just because they're playing so many teams that are kind of at the bottom of the league. When you go from that to like better teams, it's hard to get that rust out. So don't expect there, I think, to be a much better Battalion second period if I had to be a betting man.
Yeah, Hamilton here on Thursday, then they head to Mississauga on Friday, then they'll host Sudbury on Sunday, and then there's that game, like you said, against Windsor with the Spitfires coming to town.
And thankfully, Hamilton and Mississauga pretty much at the same kind of level in terms of competition as Flint, so it's not like you're going right from Niagara to Windsor. They are getting kind of a good tune-up.
Kuzmin chasing the puck back into his own zone. Now he turns and goes down the left wing side. Kuzmin over the line, gets through the defense. Sanderson and Petrie's there to the right side, and they cannot bury it as Piercy had the last look from that sharp angled shot. Kuzmin fires it again, and that will end the penalty as McDonald is out of the box. Nice opening minute there for the Firebirds on the power play, but now it's back to 5-on-5. McDonald tripped going in the net. Jackson with the puck, and he fires it wide of the net. There's a chance. Bloom has it behind the net. He tried to center it to Erdl. It's knocked off his skate, and it's picked up by Lombardi of the Firebirds, and he'll head out of the zone. Down the left wing side for Piercy. Piercy sends it off the side of the net. Picked up by Nelson. Nelson lost it going up the far side boards. Now it's back into the corner. A couple of guys battling for it back there. And it is Jackson coming out of that area and carrying it through the neutral zone over the blue line. Jackson centers it over to Erdl, just out of his reach, down behind the net. He centers it again, but it's Petrie who takes it away for the Firebirds. Sends it up to Bertucci. Gets it back to the right side to Kressler. Kressler, the Toronto Maple Leafs draft pick, sends it to the near side to Bertucci, to DeLine at the line, and he fires it wide of the net. Nelson lost his stick, or his stick is snapped. He throws a punch at Kressler, and the officials put their arms up because of that, and that will send Nelson to the box. So Wakely and Giroux are out.
I think he got his unsportsmanlike after that, as well as he was jawing at the official, and he's made it. So this might be a double minor here for Nelson. Rough, and
Roughing,
then
unsportsmanlike.
Unsportsmanlike, yeah.
17:54 to go in the second period, and just like that, the Firebirds are back on the power play.
Yeah, Nelson obviously very frustrated, breaks his stick, gives him a little punch at the end, and then as he's walking away, clearly gave some strong words to the official there about that call, and the official immediately called unsportsmanlike. So now the Battalion, thankfully, one of the best penalty kill in the league now is to kill off 4 more minutes.
And they steal it right off the bat. Here comes Zito on the breakaway, lifts it high. Zito gets his own rebound off the glass, plays it in on the near side corner. Trying to get away from a couple of Firebirds players. And it's sent back down the other way. In behind the net. Ricocheted out of the zone. Down the ice is Tarasevic. He's got a shorty already on a breakaway again. This time he's stopped on the glove save by Cranley.
Well, maybe Nelson took that extra 2 minutes on purpose because the Battalion played the best on the penalty kill.
You're right. This is the best scoring chances they've had since that last penalty kill. That's Giroux into the corner now. Plays it on net at the side. DiVincentis with a beautiful kick save. Wow, the Firebirds were that close to tying this game. They keep the puck alive in the zone. Kuzman down the left side, sends it wide of the net, backhanded by Giroux, and it does go wide. Sent back around on the near side. That's Kuzman there. Kuzman across to the right side. Kressler's shot is blocked and cleared down the ice by Van Steensel.
Second straight time on a penalty kill that DiVincentis has kind of made his life a little bit difficult on himself. Not great rebound control. Gives Flint an absolute beautiful chance, and for some reason they just can't find the back of the net, it seems.
16:30 to go in the period as the Firebirds fire it back in. 2:30 to go in the double minor to Nelson. Puck on the far side boards at the line. It's sent to the near side to Dan. Dan, who's got a goal already today, centers it, deflected it in, and Colson Petrie has tied the game for the Firebirds. 2-2 on the power play.
And because it happened with 21 seconds left on the first minor, they should still be on the power play after this one with now 21 seconds less, I believe. And what a nice goal there, a little tip in. Dan with a nice little kind of shot pass there that tips right past DiVincentis. And you can only do so much when you give opportunities in the high slot like that. Eventually they're going to find their way into the zone, into the net. And Flint finally figures out DiVincentis on the power play, and it's going to be another power play. So it'll mean over 4 minutes, about 4.5, almost 5 minutes to start this game on the penalty kill in the second period.
Yeah, you're right. They killed off 55 seconds or thereabouts to start the period, and now they have to kill off 4. Well, 2 of it is gone now, so they've got 2 more to go. And here comes Dan once again, and it is knocked away from his stick and set back down the ice. Nolan Dan had the first goal, and now he sets up the second goal. And it's the Firebirds' Piercy coming back in the right wing side of the zone, drops it to Bertucci, back to the right side boards to Piercy, now Lombardi, Bertucci, back to Piercy on the right side, the shot goes wide, picked up by Dan on the near side boards, sent across to the middle, shot comes in, they score, it's Piercy again, and it's 3-2 Flint.
Well, if you're Oulahen, you got to be kind of not too happy about this. Nelson takes a very bad penalty with that unsportsmanlike, the extra 2 minutes, and now you've given up back-to-back power play goals on the same, basically on the same penalty, and now all of a sudden it's a 3-2 Flint game, and that's not okay if you're Ryan Oulahen.
Derek, 3 straight goals scored by the Firebirds have the Battalion in a bit of a hole through the first 4.5 minutes of this period.
Well, you know what it all comes back to? Staying on the ice and out of the box. Ty Nelson taking that penalty, but it's that second penalty he picked up for unsportsmanlike conduct that is undeserved. And what better way than if you're a Firebird than wanting to score, and they score on both ends of that penalty as they take a lead and really have game momentum.
And now the Battalion will try to answer back. Romani is right in the middle, twisting, turning, and he cannot bury it. Terrian picks it up, sends it to the line to Christopoulos. Christopoulos' shot is deflected off his stick, goes up high, staying in off the glass on the near side. Into the corner, it's Procession there again. Procession flips it around to the near side boards, but is picked up by Petrie. Not the one that just scored, that's Caden Petrie. And he sends it down into the North Bay zone. In behind the net, in the North Bay end, Christopoulos is there, trying to shield the puck. It goes around on the far side boards, picked up there by Piercy. Piercy tripped up, knocked down, no call coming there as the Battalion send it down the ice. Racing in is Terrian, and he beat them out to the puck, so it erases the icing call, but then he was pressured by 2 Firebirds players. However, they get the puck back. The Battalion send it on net. Cranley knocks it away, but it went straight up and almost behind him before the defense bails him out there. Petrov with the puck now in the zone. Sends it towards Jackson. Jackson in front of the net. Tarasevic is there, but he can't bury it. Cranley was down, and the defense once again coming to the aid of Cranley. Sent down the ice. Petrov knocked down from behind by Caden Petrie.
Looks like there's going to be a slashing call. I'm not too sure.
And it's going against Petrie.
Yeah.
So that's not the Petrie that's just scored twice. That was Colson Petrie. This is Caden Petrie, the rookie, who's going to sit for 2 minutes. And now the Battalion have an opportunity to even up this game.
And the thing that's interesting is this has been the special teams game. It's not something you usually say with the Battalion's game, but 4 out of the 5 goals have come on non-5-on-5 action, which is kind of interesting to say. So Battalion, a glorious chance here. Already 1 power play goal today. A great chance to tie things up here.
Battalion with a power play goal and a shorthanded goal. They've yet to score 5-on-5, but they'll see if they can do it again on the man advantage as is cleared by the Firebirds.
And you got to give credit to the Firebirds in the second period. They really feel like they want it a little bit more than the Battalion right now.
Jackson over the blue line, dumps it in. Played on the near side corner, up to the half boards. It's sent down the ice. DiVincentis holding it behind the net with 1:30 to go on the North Bay power play. He leaves it for Ty Nelson. And you know Nelson's going to want to try and make up for that double minor he served. He had 2 goals in the win over the Sioux on Thursday, but Nelson gets beat to the puck. Slavicek coming in, and he almost beats DiVincentis there.
Well, there you go again. Like it's just one of those games where the Firebirds they have a fire, no pun intended, fire put underneath them, and
that's right.
They're the better team in the first 8 minutes here.
Nelson to the left side. Petrov's shot fired wide of the net. Picked up off the half boards by Jackson. Jackson sends it in front, deflected in the slot, but Slavicek is the first one to the puck, and he is going to be able to clear that one, as that was another good look by the Battalion as they send it down the ice. Romani coming back in the zone one-on-one, but he's pushed to the near side boards. Romani sends it along the end boards looking for Erdl. He goes in the far side corner, flips it back behind the net looking for Wakely. Wakely can't hold it there, and it's knocked away by the Firebirds and sent down the ice right towards DiVincentis with 25 seconds remaining on the power play. Wakely down the right side, feeds it up ahead to Romani. Romani over the blue line, tries to get up to Wakely. It's knocked back to the blue line to Romani. Romani feeds it down the half boards. It gets knocked back out of the zone. Winslow picks it up in the neutral zone. 3 seconds to go on the power play. They turn it over, and now there's a breakaway coming down the ice. The chance denied by DiVincentis as he stops Gavin Hayes.
Another sloppy play by the Battalion. They're really not clicking so far. Obviously, they've been on the power. They've had almost 5 minutes worth of penalty killing, but still just not looking very good defensively right now.
It's also their passing hasn't been very crisp either. Here comes Lombardi down the ice towards the net. Shot save made by DiVincentis as he throws the shoulder up. Now Bertucci keeps it in, sends it in towards the net, and DiVincentis makes another save. 11:30 to go in the second period. It's a 3-2 lead for the Firebirds.
It's been a very exciting second period. Unfortunately for the Battalion, they're getting outplayed, and DiVincentis is right now in a situation where he's given up 3 goals. He has not given up more than 3 goals since that game against Barrie that we talked about in the pregame show on December 17th. So one goal away from that.
Off the draw, Lombardi has it in the North Bay zone. He tried to get to the line. Tarasevich blocks it and carries it out through the neutral zone. Back to Tarasevich over the blue line. He sends it towards the net. That gets blocked. Procession finds it at the blue line. He tries to dump it back in deep, but it's kicked back up to the line by the Firebirds and cleared out of the zone.
Remember, Firebirds still coming off that really bad loss against Sudbury where they gave up 5 unanswered goals in the third period on what should have been a win after leading 4-1 after 40 minutes. So you can tell that they're really trying to get back in the win column, and it's big on this 5-game road trip so far.
And they haven't won in their last 3 games as well. Their last win coming against Kitchener on January 7th. Play back into the Firebird zone. Procession right in front of the net. Backhanded chance. He gets denied by Cranley, and Cranley is starting to heat up now. That is his 17th save of the game as he makes another one from the sharp angle shot.
That's that momentum, right? And that's what it feels like right now. Flint's got all the momentum on their side.
The line coming out of the zone, up to Kressler, back to the point. Tarasevich, Kennedy takes his man down, but he sends it down the ice, and this will not be icing.
No, they waved it off right before, and even the players on the ice were confused.
Jackson centers to Bloom, but the shot goes wide. Picked up at the blue line by Winslow. Into the corner. It's off the stick of Ertl. Picked up by the Firebirds and sent out over the blue line. It's Gavin Hayes now coming down the left wing side. Plays it to the middle. The one-timer back to Hayes. And he fans on the shot. Picked up now by Ertl. Coming down the right wing side. Ertl over the blue line. Drops it to Kennedy. He turns it over. And it's one-on-one the other way. Kuzman battling with Nelson. Kuzman stops at the blue line. Waits for some support. Cross zone pass to the far side to Bradshaw. Bradshaw flips it in behind the net. It's picked off by Nelson, and the Battalion defenseman sends it out of the zone, down the ice. Picked up by Bloom on the far side. Bloom plays it in the corner looking for Ertl. Ertl holding it in behind the net. Plays it back to Bloom. Now back in the corner for Ertl. Ertl chips it along the end boards for Jackson. Jackson holds it back there looking for the pass. Gets it in front to Bloom, but he fires it off his stick and high and out of play. 9:17 to go. Halfway through the second, it's 3-2 Firebirds.
This period is brought to you by Canada Alumni Perks. Get information on special events and news or access the alumni job portal. Visit canadacollege.ca/perks for more information.
3-2 the score for the Flint Firebirds. Derek, what are you seeing as the Battalion trying to come back in this game now?
Exactly that, Matt. A good pushback after giving up that third goal on the power play, but it's been a lot of DiVincentis having to come up big to keep it a 1-goal game. The Battalion have to find a way to get some extended offensive time in the offensive zone and keep the puck out of the defensive zone. The more pressure they can get, the better. They're not making it hard for Cranley tonight in that net. They've got to find a way to flip more pucks towards the goal and maybe get a little bit of traffic in that goal mouth area, Matt.
All right, thank you for that, Derek. You know, something that's interesting in this game, Ben, is combined 15 NHL prospects in this game. 3 of them with the Detroit Red Wings. That is, one of them is not playing this game. It's Tanias Mathurin, and it is
today.
His 19th birthday.
Yeah,
so happy birthday to you, Tanias. But yeah, that's why this game is so interesting. There is a lot of NHL prospective talent on the ice in this contest.
Yeah, both teams are both very, very rich in that kind of sense. And obviously we talk about the big one being Lombardi with Detroit, 4th-round pick. I think he's going to be the steal of that draft, to be honest with you. He's a very special player.
Yeah, the other Red Wings prospect is Pasquale Zito, just acquired by the North Bay Battalion just a few weeks ago before the trade deadline. Under 9 minutes to play now as we resume here. Puck is inside the Firebird zone as the Battalion trying to even things up. They turn it over and the Firebirds come down the other way. Trying to play it in front of the net. Poke check save made by DiVincentis as he sends it to the far side. Now it's back behind the net. Nelson has it down the right wing side to Tarasevic. Tarasevic up to the blue line. He dumps it in. Played around on the far side board. Zito leaves it for Petrov on the boards. Now back behind the net for Zito. Zito looking down his near side. Now he comes up to the blue line and leaves it there for Winslow. Winslow walking down his right wing. Winslow carries it in behind the net. Now stops. Waits in the corner. Now he tries to send it back to the line, but Christopoulos is not there, so he'll have to chase it down the ice. 8:10 to go in the second period. 3-2 lead for the Firebirds. North Bay just trying to get it out of their own zone. Zito has it at the line. Plays it over to Christopoulos. Christopoulos behind the net to Winslow. The Battalion have just been moving themselves further and further back into their own zone. They finally get it up ahead to McDonald, and McDonald will carry it out. Dumps it in. And Van Steensel can't hold it there. Now it's up ahead to Hayes. Hayes dumps it to the far side corner. They try to play it back in front of the net. That gets blocked. Picked up by Van Steensel, the Battalion, and he feeds it down the left wing for McDonald. McDonald one-on-one in the zone. McDonald tried to get through Dan, but Dan at the last second is able to poke it off the stick of McDonald and recover the puck for the Firebirds. 7:25 to go in this 3-2 lead for the Firebirds in the second. They dump it down the ice, and North Bay shoots it right back up the middle. It's Wakely coming down the left wing side, drops it to the line to McDonald. Try to feed up ahead to Wakely. It's knocked away from his stick, and the Firebirds will goal the other way now. It's Petrie, who's got 2 goals already tonight. He goes into the end boards hard, battling back there with Kennedy. Kennedy gets the puck away from Petrie and sends it out to the neutral zone. The Battalion get it up to the blue line, but Wakely was ahead of everybody, and so they have to wait, and that allows Giroux of the Firebirds to send it up the middle. That's Lombardi through the middle, trying to get past Kennedy. Won't beat him this time as the Battalion recover the puck and get out to the neutral zone. Kuzman chases it back. Now he plays it forward. That one's turned over in the middle of the ice as McDonald gets his stick in the skates of Petrie. He falls down. No call coming there against McDonald this time as it's dumped into the Firebirds' end. 6.5 to play as the Firebirds try to get it out of the zone. They turn it over. Terrian's right there. Pass across to Romani, and he cannot beat Cranley, who makes an outstanding save going east to west on that one.
Well, that last play was just transition to transition, zone to zone, but nobody could get anything going because the defense, transition defense has been fantastic for both teams. Absolute amazing chance for the Battalion there, but Cranley, obviously, he struggles. He's given up 6 goals in his last 3 games. Looked absolutely fantastic there, tracking that puck across the ice. And right now, if you're the Battalion, we talked about this in the intermission, but it's all about zone time and having that puck in the offensive zone. And so far, neither team, but especially the Battalion, have not been able to do that.
6:23 to go in the second period. Flint Firebirds lead 3-2. Last goal coming at the 4:28 mark of the second period. The Battalion off the draw almost get back on an even keel there, but it's just wide of the net, and now it's picked up by Romani. There's a penalty coming up against the Flint Firebirds here. Touched by Petrie. And the whistle goes.
Yeah, that was on Procession there. Not getting the penalty, but it was on Petrie. But Procession was definitely some sticks were getting in there, and he gives him a kind of cross check at the end. He's going to get called for hooking, but yeah, definitely had a stick caught in his body. And here's another opportunity for the Battalion to try and get this power play kind of going. Again, already 1 power play goal on this game, but they've got to get their power play set up, and they've got to get pucks to the net when they have that offensive zone. When they have the offensive zone possession, because right now, if you looked at their last power play, they just weren't able. Yes, they were passing the puck around, but they didn't get really any pucks on net on Cranley, and that's what they got to do. They got to get some bodies in front, got to get some shots from the point. You got a great shot in Ty Nelson, and you got to use it.
So it's Piercy in the box. They dropped the puck. The clock started ticking, and then they blew the whistle right away. So. Oh, they're not going to reset it because just 1 second left. So they drop the puck, and here we go as the Battalion win the offensive zone draw. Sent around on the near side. Jackson centers to Nelson, and he scores!
I'm not going to take credit for that, but what did I say? Get it to Nelson. What a shot. And this is what's so fantastic. With that play, we saw Nelson starting in the right at the blue line, and what did he do? He, as the Firebirds started to collapse towards the opposite end, he came into that high slot, that Ovechkin area. That's what he loves to shoot at. And what an absolute shot, top corner. And there's a reason that Nelson has over 10 goals this season, is because of that kind of shot. And man, what a goal. And the Battalion 1-9 after trailing after 40 minutes. That is a huge marker with 6 minutes to go to tie things up.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Ben. It is almost jarring to see the difference between the Battalion stats when they are leading after 2 to when they're trailing after 2. Although the OHL is known for that, being pretty good at being a shutdown league if you take a lead into the third period, right?
Don't tell Flint that yesterday, though. They found that out the hard way.
They did. That not everything is equal, right? But yeah, for Ty Nelson, I mean, he's in the top 20 in scoring in the league now. He'll add to his goal total. That's 13 on the season now. Second in assists and points by OHL defensemen. So certainly climbing up those ranks. Just a couple of coming into the game, he was 9 points behind Minchikov, who is now part of the Ottawa 67's roster. So,
and if they can make that kind of power play work.
Christopoulos sends it in front of the net to Erdl. Big scramble on the goal mouth, and getting his stick in the skates of Erdl was Blake Smith. And the Battalion are going back on the power play, and they're going back on the power play for some extra time. That's going to be a double minor against Blake Smith.
That's the fourth unsportsmanlike conduct penalty that's been given out today, 2 from each team. This exactly happened to Nelson. He went down and then he kept jawing at the referee, and he was going for the unsportsmanlike conduct. And we see the same. As soon as he started jawing, I was watching to see if he would give him the penalty, and sure enough, he did. So that, again, as a coach, that you hate that, because you have to just kind of shut your mouth and take the penalty. And unfortunately, they keep jawing, and these guys are young. It happens. But that's something that they got to learn from. But you got to hate that. You just give them an extra 2 minutes. They just scored on the power play. And let's see if Nelson can get number 14.
I think it's a matter of have your say.
Yep.
And once the official has his say, then you got to let it go. But it's the extra afterwards, right?
And probably some choice words as well.
That's it.
But, yeah, you got to hate that as a coach. And we saw that burn the Battalion. Let's see if it burns the Firebirds here.
So it is a double minor. Here comes Romani coming in to the right wing side of the zone. Sends it across the far side to Zito, to the corner to Erdl. Erdl back to the half board to Zito. Zito flips it around the boards to the near side, but Giroux gets there first for the Firebirds, and he dumps it down the ice. 4:30 to play in the second period. 3-3 the score with 3:20 to go in this double minor opportunity for the North Bay Battalion. Wakely to Romani. Romani's pass up the middle is blocked easily by the Firebirds, and it's sent right back down the ice on the dump out by Flint.
Yeah, we talk again about zone entry, and that was something that's really struggled on the power play.
And now Zito just tries to bowl over 3 guys right down the middle, and it almost worked, but they got control of the puck and send it back down the ice. A minute gone already on the power play. Nelson to Jackson, flying down the left wing side, cuts to the right side, now over the middle. He feeds McDonald over the blue line, who sends it back behind the net for Jackson. Jackson looking for control. They center it, but the Firebirds get control instead and send it back down the ice.
And it's an important 33 seconds for them to kill off, because if the Battalion do score, that'll erase the whole penalty. If they can score in the next 30 seconds, there'll still be a power play after this.
Petrov dumps it in on the near side. Off the corner behind the net. Cranley out to play it. Sends it to the near side boards, but North Bay don't allow it to get out of the zone, and Jackson has it now at the near side. Across the far side, that's Nelson. Nelson in the left circle. Back to the point to Petrov. Back to Nelson. Waits, fires, save made. Rebound by Jackson, and he misses the net. Jackson was perfect there, but he just could not get that. And now Nelson with the puck. He scores! Ty Nelson does it again, and the Battalion lead 4-3 on the power play goal by Kid Nelly.
And look at that, 4 goals now, 5 points in his last 2 games for Ty Nelson. And you know, he had a bit of a dry spell coming off the Christmas break where he wasn't scoring a lot of goals. I think he only had 1 goal in 6 or 7 games, and now he's got He's got 4 goals all of a sudden. And what a nice shot from in a tight spot. And this is what good teams like the Battalion can do. And we saw this against the Sioux Greyhounds. They struggled. They did not play a good first half of that game. They were down 3-1. What do? They end up taking command of that game in the second half. They end up winning that game 7-4. This game is very similar. They've been outplayed by the Flint Firebirds this whole period. And now in the last 2-3 minutes, they've scored 2 goals. And now they have the lead. And now they're in control.
4th goal of the weekend for Ty Nelson. Back-to-back games with 2 goals for number 24. And the Seattle Kraken 3rd-round draft pick now has 4 multi-point games in his last 5 played.
That's ridiculous.
The only one he doesn't is when he was completely shut out off the scoreboard in that game against the Sudbury Wolves, where it seemed like nobody was going to get a point in that game.
And I think Earl was the only goal on a shorthanded goal
That's
in that
right.
game too. Though I can't remember if he scored I think he scored in the shootout.
Nelson,
or maybe
no.
not.
2:15 to play as the Battalion climb all the way back and regain the lead. Back and forth we go between the Firebirds and the Battalion. And sometimes it's a shame we only see these Western Conference teams once a year here, twice all season, right? In the neutral zone, Giroux has control of the puck for the Firebirds. Giroux over the middle, takes a shot, stopped, back on the stick of Giroux, and he can't get a secondary shot off. Out to the neutral zone as the Battalion get it over the blue line as Jackson coming in on the right side, feeds it across the left side. That's blocked by Hayes, and he gets it out to Giroux. Giroux up ahead to Kressler. Kressler back to Giroux. Back to Kressler, bats it in, and the save is made. Rebound chance, DiVincentis denies him. What a stop by Dom to make sure the Battalion still have a 1-goal lead. Oh, man. Back and forth we go. Every time one of these teams lets off the gas pedal just a little bit, the other team starts to take advantage. And there they are again. Piercy with a one-timer in front. But that one is stopped by DiVincentis again.
Yeah, Battalion need to slow this down, get this puck out of the zone. They have the lead, but they need to keep the Firebirds from getting that momentum and getting the tying goal.
Last minute in the second period, Kuzmin with it. Tried to play it across the far side of it's off a skate and redirected all the way down the ice. The Firebirds bring it back in. Piercy down the left wing side, takes a shot. Blocker save made by DiVincentis, and then he'll hold on to it. He threw his stick, and then he smothered it with his blocker hand.
Yeah, and this is a very important 34 seconds. The Battalion need to shut the Firebirds down. They can't give up a goal here. We talk about how bad they are when they're leading, trailing after 40. They are very, 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 very good when they're leading after 40. They have a great third period shutdown when they have the lead, and they need to go into it with a 4-3 lead here to not give up a tying goal and kind of lose that momentum and to lose that, and to really give Flint an edge going into the third period.
They're being outshot 32-24, but with 30 seconds left, they could be carrying that 1-goal lead into the third period, like you said. And here comes Petrov down the right wing side, drops it back to the middle, the shot save made, rebound chance, and McDonald could not get that third shot off there. Man, a couple of big opportunities on either side of the ice. Into the neutral zone, Petrov has it again. Sends it in on the dump in. Flint gets it right back out. 5 seconds go. Piercy down the left wing. He gets tied up with Nelson, and the period will come to an end. The Battalion give up 2, they gain back 2, and it's a +1 advantage at the end of 40 minutes of play. It is a 4-3 lead for the North Bay Battalion, and Derek and Ben will break down everything they saw in the second period. Coming up right after this, you're watching the Average Joe's Game Day broadcast right here on the Frontline Broadcast YouTube channel.
Average Joe's Eatery and Patio Bar is North Bay's only year-round lakefront restaurant. On the shores of beautiful Trout Lake, we have been serving delicious food and stunning views since 1999. Indulge in one of our delicious menu items, or simply sit with a cocktail in hand and watch the beauty of Trout Lake before your eyes. Check us out online at averagejoes.net or visit us in person at 3501 Trout Lake Road, North Bay.
As a Canadore College alumni, you have access to perks. Canadore Alumni Perks. This is a lifetime membership that includes special access to great offers, opportunities to get involved, and so much more. Graduates can access discounts and special offers for businesses and hotels, and international. Get information on special events and news, or access the alumni job portal. Keep in touch with Canadore's alumni office. Visit canadorecollege.ca/perks. Great things happen here.
You rely on your vehicle to take you to the places that matter most to you. So bring your vehicle to the team you can rely on to keep it running at its best. Dave's Automotive Services. Whether you're getting your car or truck ready for the season with a tire change, making sure you're safe on the road with an inspection and certification, or doing your due diligence to keep your vehicle in tip-top shape with regular maintenance, Dave's Automotive Services has you covered. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect when you bring your car or truck to Dave's Automotive Services at 411 Airport Road. Call 705-478-5544 and book your appointment today.
The Frontline Podcast, Season 3. Courtney Kenny, Matthew Sucrum, Derek Lindemann, Bob Coles, and Ben Long bring you closer your favorite teams like never before. Covering everything to do with hockey in the North Bay area, exclusive interviews with the North Bay Battalion staff and players, expert analysis on the OHL,
there's lots of snow on the ice, so why don't you guys...
All things Voodoos, Trappers, Lakers, and more. It's a new season, it's a new adventure. The Frontline Podcast Season 3. Available wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
And welcome back inside Memorial Gardens, where the North Bay Battalion, with 2 power play goals in the second half of that period, have rebounded to take a 4-3 lead going into the second intermission. Let's take a look at the second period scoring summary, as the Flint Firebirds were trailing 2-1 to start that period. And then Colson Petrie got them back on even ground, his 16th of the season, on the power play at 3:45 from Dan and Kuzmin. And then just under 40 seconds later, Colson Petrie again on the power play. 17th of the season, gave the Flint Firebirds a 3-2 lead. Nolan Dan and Tristan Bertucci with the assist on that power play marker. And then the Battalion respond with 2 power play markers of their own. First off, Ty Nelson at 14 minutes, his 13th of the season, on the power play from Kyle Jackson and Kyle McDonald. And then just over 3 minutes later at 17:06, Nelson with his second power play of the marker of the game, and also his 14th of the season from Josh Bloom and Matvey Petrov, restored the lead for the North Bay Battalion as they lead 4-3 going into the mid-period break. Taking a look at the shots on goal in the second period, the Firebirds 17 for a total of 32. The Battalion 13 for a total of 25. Been a lot of talk about the specialty teams, especially here today, as the Battalion are 3 for 5 with the man advantage, and the Flint Firebirds 2 for 4, so the power plays both working for the respective teams. A few other games on their way today in the OHL. As in London, it's the Windsor Spitfires with another goal, now lead the Knights by a score of 3-1. That's just a minute left in the middle frame. In Mississauga, after 2 periods, the Steelheads trail the Barrie Colts 5-2. In Ottawa, the 67s get on the board in the second period and take a 1-0 lead over the Sarnia Sting into the second intermission. 4 minutes left in Sudbury as the Wolves lead the Sioux Greyhounds 2-1. Elsewhere, later tonight, the Saginaw Spirit host the Kitchener Rangers. That is a 5:30 start down in Saginaw. While this week, on the Frontline Podcast, Justin Ertl was able to sit down and join our very own Courtney Kenny as they discuss hockey and coming here to North Bay to play for the Battalion.
Now, on a personal side as well, you know, on the podcast, we always seem to get kind of running jokes that go on with things. And throughout the year, we've heard from multiple people that last year Tanias Mathurin was kind of the locker room DJ. We've heard from multiple sources now that belongs to you and Ty Nelson. How would you say you're filling the shoes of Tanias Mathurin?
Yeah, well, it's definitely big shoes to fill. When he's been here, he's had some good tunes. So I've been trying to step it up lately, but yeah, I just been trying to keep it loose and a good vibe in the locker room. So
what's your go-to mix before a game?
Geez, I'd say before games, there's a lot of like EDM, like dance music, stuff like that. Try and keep it a little lighter, and then it gets more into like hip hop, rap, rock and roll, stuff like that. But yeah, it's a pretty wide variety of music that goes on in the room, which is pretty funny. But yeah, just trying to keep the vibe in the room good, and hopefully I've been doing a good job. I couldn't tell you if I am, but
Well, I've heard good things, so I think you're doing okay. So
okay,
and
that's good to hear. That's good to hear.
that's from the other boys, so I think you're okay.
Okay.
When it comes to the warm up mix, because it's changed since New Year's, who
Mhm.
has a say in that? Is that you is that all the captains, or is that the team in general?
Yeah, well, I believe Arnie got a text saying that we can change it up if we really want to. So we just threw it up in our team group chat, trying to get everyone's opinion on what song should go in, and everyone kind of just contributed, which helped out really well. So that's kind of how that goes about.
Did anyone throw out a song that you guys are like, who is this guy? Get out of here.
Yeah, there's definitely a couple of those where guys will say a song like, what do you like, that can't be a warm up song. We can't be getting up for a game listening to that. So there are definitely a couple of those guys that threw some of the songs out, but
They're definitely not future locker room DJs, that's for sure.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
One thing we've asked a lot of the guys this year as well is, the Buffalo Sabres have done a thing where they're doing like personalized goal songs this year. So for you, if you had the choice, what would you pick to be your goal song?
Wow, great question. I gotta think about that for a sec.
No one said it would be easy coming on here.
I'm trying to think. I'm drawing a blank right now. Here, I'll check. Give me 1 second. I'll dive in the the playlist really quick here. We'll go with "In the Club" by 50 Cent.
All right, that's a good
We'll go with
choice.
that.
And
Thank you.
That's kind of right around where I was like, I'm a little bit not I don't want to say I'm a little bit older, but I'm a little bit older, and that's about when I was growing up. Was into club was the big thing. So
Yeah, for sure.
I
Yeah,
can respect
that'd be really cool. It's cool to see that happen in the NHL.
So here's another tough question for you.
All right.
If you were to go out for karaoke, what would be your go-to?
Oh wow. I'd say any song by Katy Perry. I think I can belch out pretty good. So
All right.
yeah, we'll go any song by Katy Perry.
Okay. Well, I'm a big fan of Katy Perry too, so I can
Never go wrong. So
I can mess with that for sure.
Yeah.
We've asked, and so far we've only gotten Wakely and Hislop to kind of participate. But
Okay.
can you give us a line or two of a Katy Perry song? Can you sing us a line or a Katy Perry song?
Oh god. Oh god.
Nelson
I don't know.
wouldn't sing.
I think that's definitely more for Wakes and Hissy for sure. I think that's more up their alley, but I wouldn't say that's more up mine.
All right, well that's fair.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, Ty Nelson was talking about karaoke night. He has karaoke night every single night at his billets or whatever, and then he wouldn't
Oh, no way.
participate. He wouldn't sing, and we're like, "Come on, man!"
He's got to. I'll talk to him tomorrow about that for sure.
Players to Watch is brought to you by Mike the Financial Advisor. If you have financial questions, he has financial answers. On Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Mike the FA.
Let's take a quick recap of our players to watch. First off, for the Flint Firebirds, Amadeus Lombardi held off the score sheet. He's a -1. But in the category we're really paying attention to his face-offs, he's 3 for 4 for the Battalion. Kyle Jackson, 1 assist on the night, 7 for 11 in the face-off circle. So both guys above 50% tonight that we're watching as our players to watch, Ben.
Yeah, and so far, obviously we talked about Jackson getting a point. Lombardi's been a little bit quiet. We've seen a couple of times where he's gotten some touches on the puck, and he's had a couple of drives towards the net, but nothing super. He hasn't really been dominating the game as I would expect expect this someone of his caliber to kind of dominate a game, especially a game that's been very transition heavy. We saw that in that for about 7 minutes in that second period, in between the big penalty troubles that both teams had, where it was just back and forth, but nobody could find the net. Nobody could really take a good shot. And we talked about last period how it's important to create offensive zone possession and to really create movement and create kind of a structure. And neither team were really able to do that, but I think the Battalion did a better job of that, and obviously it ended up leading to 2 goals for them.
One of the players that had a big hand in that second period, both positive and negative, Ty Nelson. He took that penalty for a cross-check and then picked up the unsportsmanlike conduct on top of that. And while he was in the box, he watched the Flint Firebirds score 2 power play goals on those. The second one probably a little selfish, but he was able to respond with 2 power play goals of his own for the Battalion, really getting them back into it as they have that 1-goal lead. Just 2 sides to Nelson in that period.
Yeah, and I guess it kind of clears his conscience a little bit. Obviously, he takes the first penalty wasn't a big issue, but the second penalty, when you put your team kind of on behind the 8 ball like that, and you let your emotions take over. Obviously, we don't know what was said. We don't know if it was kind of a very short fuse from the referee, or if it was definitely earned from Nelson. But he definitely had something to say to the referee. He looked pretty animated. And we have to remember this game, something that you don't see very often. You don't see unsportsmanlike very often. We've seen 4 of them in this game alone, which is very interesting. And it kind of was a very similar kind of situation that we saw with the Flint in the same kind of situation with the same getting a call against them with the
Reed G commenting to the official, picking up the same type of thing, the unsportsmanlike conduct. Just can't have those penalties at this level when you're trying to win game in and out.
Yeah, especially what your coach would probably assume are stupid penalties that you really don't need to take. And we saw with Nelson, it led to 2 goals, not just the one. They ended up scoring on the first minor to then get another power play opportunity, which, to be fair, the Battalion, we said they're first in the league, right? And unfortunately for them, they give up 2 other power play goals. And this has been a special teams game, which is weird. We don't see this very often from the Battalion. We were talking about this before. And 7 of the goals, 5 of them have come off of special teams. Only each team has 1 goal 5-on-5, which is just kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah, when you're talking about it that way, actually, I'm going to correct you because the Battalion do have a shorthanded goal, so 6 of the 7 goals have come off, especially teams. The Battalion still haven't scored 5-on-5, and that's where we've seen the Battalion doing a lot of their damage against teams in this building.
Yeah, and you got to give a lot of credit to Ty Nelson, though. What a shot on that first goal, and then he finds it from in tight on the second goal, and it's just kind of incredible to see a guy like that who's able to kind of put his team on his back, especially when he put his team in a tough spot to begin with earlier on in the period. 29 saves for Dom DiVincentis through 2 periods. That's a high number for a North Bay Battalion goaltender. He's look sharp at times in goal for the Battalion. Yeah, he's been weird. It's been kind of interesting. He's had some really highlight reel saves, but then he's also kind of put himself in some bad situations with some bad rebound control. And he hasn't looked, again, very strong going east to west. It looks like he's kind of lost his step a little bit, and that could just be because he hasn't played since before. He didn't play in that Sioux game. Remember, it was a back-to-back where we saw Robertson play. So maybe he just has a little bit of rust, and he's not used to the amount of he doesn't usually get facing this many shots either because of his defense. And it's been kind of a tough defensive game. But interesting thing for DiVincentis, and I said this during the period, he has not given up more than 3 goals since the December 17th game against Barrie, where he gave up 6. So this will be kind of interesting if he can hold this to 3 and kind of keep that streak going.
Well, it will be interesting to see how the third period pans out, as we'll be right back with that third period action, as it's the Flint Firebirds trail the North Bay Battalion by a score of 4-3 right here on the Frontline broadcast.
A special time for families to gather, share their day, and spend quality time together. Those dinners are made extra special when you add tropical produce found in the markets and grocery stores that carry La Huerta imports. La Huerta knows the importance of family, so they know which quality products make the best quality meals for your customers, whether it be Mexican Hass avocados, Brazilian figs, Ecuadorian red dragon fruit, or something just as exotic and special. To get your supply of the best tropical produce at competitive prices with brands buyers trust, contact La Huerta Imports at 705-752-1478.
Community engagement is one of our core focuses at McDonald's. The key is finding the right people who are passionate about the same things we are, helping kids be kids. McDonald's proudly supports local organizations such as the North Bay Regional Health Center Foundation Big Brothers Big Sisters, One Kid's Place, the Children's Aid Society, and Ronald McDonald House Charities. Stop by McDonald's on 1500 Fisher Street, North Bay, to see how we can serve you and the community every day.
Hey there, I'm Mike the Financial Advisor. When you strip it down to its core and you take away all the industry jargon, I help people solve financial concerns. So if you're concerned that you'll never save enough to retire comfortably, or that your kid is going to graduate post-secondary $40,000 in debt, or maybe even that life is going to take a really unfortunate sideways turn and somebody is going to have to open a GoFundMe page for you and your family, I can help you prevent all of those things from happening. If you want to see how, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Just do a search for Mike the Financial Advisor. You should find me.
Welcome back. Matt Sukram with you here alongside Ben Sargent. It is a 4-3 North Bay Battalion lead. And surprisingly, there's nobody in the box to start the period. But there might be a few people heading to the box depending on how this period goes.
It's been scrappy, and we talked about it a couple of times. 4 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties so far this game. 2 of them jawing with the referee after a penalty call. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I expect there to be a scrappy third period, and we'll see. It's 4-3. We talked about how good the Battalion are after 40 minutes, and we'll see if they can hold on to this lead here.
Play underway. Bloom over the blue line. Sends it to McDonald. The shot just goes high. So it's Bloom, McDonald, and Jackson out there.
Interesting to see if maybe Oulahen's changing his lines or if there's an issue maybe with Hurdle.
Yeah, Erdel's normally the guy out there. McDonald runs into Kressler in the corner, and then he actually they're hit each other's backs, and McDonald actually went up in the air for a second there. But McDonald gets in front of the net, and he buries it. I'm loving it. The Big Mac scores. Makes it 5-3.
Well, we see McDonald. That's what he does. He scores goals. And maybe this, if Erdl is fine, maybe this is Oulahen has a chance to kind of, it looks like he's on the bench. So maybe Oulahen's just trying to get this line going. We talked about how this line has struggled at 5-on-5. And all of a sudden, McDonald gets one in really early on. And that's a huge goal. Now they have a 2-goal lead. This whole period has now changed, I think, in context. And Flint is now going to be going up against a really uphill battle. This team's already good enough as it is, but to try to get 2 on North Bay in this third period is going to be very difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a huge goal, not even a minute in. And like you said, it's because the Battalion
and Erdl's out there now, so it looks like, yeah, he's been moved to that second line.
And again, it's because the Battalion have been so good in the third period with a lead that that goal is so big. And now it looks like it's actually going to be reviewed. So we'll wait and see.
The offside is going to be reviewed here.
The Flint Firebirds, when they trail after 2 periods, are 3-13, 2-1. So if that goal counts, you're right, it is a uphill battle, to say the least.
It already was
Flint
going
Firebirds.
into the period, but I think now it's going to be bad. The fact they're actually challenging this is very, very interesting. Kind of a weird one. I'm kind of indifferent about, or I'm kind of on the edge about the offside penalty calls, just because it's just one of those things where you do all the things right and it can still come back at you, and to no fault of your own, but that's just kind of the way things are right now. And hopefully this one won't bite back the Battalion.
All right, we're going to go downstairs to Derek, who was just having a word with the official. Derek, what's the official word down there?
Well, it is definitely a review of the offside. They were just asking if I knew if there was a clip of it, a call, and it's not sure if there is a good look at it or not. So it's going to be really tough for a decision to be made, because it's going to have to be done up in the war room itself.
Wait, so they asked you if you have a review of it?
If I had a good clip, if knowing there was a good clip of it, but not really sure if they're going to see a good look at it or not down that blue line.
I don't know if you can do that. I don't know if that's legal.
When did you become the off-ice official?
You get a paycheck, a promotion? What's happening?
Yeah, I was going to say.
I won't tell you, but I was in the elevator and I heard the roar when I was stepping out, so I just got a chance to look at it secondhand as McDonald with that one-timer quick release beating Will Cranley, so it's really interesting to see. It's more about possession on that offside or not, whether or not there was possession gained outside the zone.
Hey, Derek, on the bright side, if you ever get fired from here again, you could be an off-ice official.
There you go.
I'm just glad to know that my conscience will not be feeling guilty if I have to fire you coming up.
Yeah.
He might get fired from that if he doesn't have the
Yeah,
goods
that's
to give
true.
the officials.
That's true. You don't have the good angle to give the officials. Good job.
Oh, I saw it clear as day from the elevator. It was clearly onside.
Yeah, it was.
No, we don't want it to be offside. We want them to score. Whose team are you on?
I think he said onside.
Did you say
No,
onside
the
or off?
Battalion kept it on. The Battalion, it's a good goal. I'm putting it down here.
All right, because I was going to say if it
But it
was
is
off.
a lengthy review. They're still looking upstairs.
Yeah, and we aren't privy to the review where we are. So if you're just joining us, the Battalion are looking to take a 6-3 lead over the Flint Firebirds with 19:24 still to go in the third period. They're reviewing whether it was an offside or not. Derek, do you think this shifts the momentum to the Flint Firebirds if they are able to get out of this with just a 2-goal deficit here?
I think exactly that is the Flint Firebirds are sure hoping, but the way it looks like down here is that it's going to be a good goal. The linesman, when he right across, he said it'd be very doubtful if it goes back the other way.
Well, good news if you're the Battalion. Obviously, because it was called onside on the play, they have the advantage here. They have to make sure that it's not onside, and it would be really nice for this to hold up for McDonald. And right away, Oulahen changes the lines up, puts McDonald on that top line, and wouldn't you know it, he gets set up beautifully for a nice little goal there and gets that top line finally a point.
And the official word is it's a goal. Derek, you can collect your paycheck now. We'll talk to Derek throughout the rest of the third period. 19:24 to go. It's now 6-3 for the North Bay Battalion.
5-3.
Why did I keep saying 6?
It's 5-3 in case you're wondering. 5-3 for the Battalion. It could be 6 depending on if they score another one here.
All right, we're good.
Jackson picking up his second assist on that goal, though, the 5th goal of the game for the Battalion.
All for Kyle Jackson. I believe that will be his first point of the game. Kyle McDonald will have his first goal of the game to go along with an assist, so a 2-point night for him. And as we talked about in the Thursday game against the Sioux, he is steadily getting stronger and stronger as the games go on in his return from injury. So it's a 5-3 lead for the North Bay Battalion. 18:40 to go in the third period. The Flint Firebirds trying to get back into this one as they see that 1-goal deficit go into a 2-goal deficit very early on in the third period. Coming in the zone, Lombardi could not get the pass, and now it's sent down to the zone by Van Steensel. Dumped down into the Firebird zone. The line will change for the Battalion as the Firebirds look to bring it back out. They lost it in the neutral zone, and it's dumped back down by Petrov. There's a hard hit on the far side boards as Blake Smith runs into Tarasevich. The puck comes to the middle of the zone, picked up by Bradshaw, a former member of the Powassan Voodoos, and Bradshaw dumps it into the zone, and very quickly the North Bay Battalion get the puck right back out. Zito to the right side, Winslow. Winslow goes in deep into the zone and is held on the end boards by Bertucci. Bertucci lost the puck in that process, and it's now set up to Petrov in the near side circle. He fires it wide of the net, and the puck comes out to the neutral zone. It's carried down the ice by Ethan Hay. Stops just inside the North Bay blue line and Fires it to the far side corner. Hislop gets it over there for the Battalion. And he'll send it down the right wing side. Looking for Terrien, who gets it up to Zito in the neutral zone. Zito throws a hit, but lost the puck in the process. And now it's Gavin Hayes who picks it up. He drops it in front of the net to Kuzmin. And Kuzmin sends it all the way down the ice. Off the end boards, Hayes has it, and he sends it towards the net. But the save is made by DiVincentis. The Battalion off that save, pick up the loose puck. Romani to Hislop, who plays it back behind the net to Christopoulos with 16:50 to go in the period, and he finds Hislop, who sends it out of the zone. Off the skate of the official, Hislop gets it back, and now he sends it right down the middle of the ice. It's off a skate, goes into the corner as Stoyakov has it. He sends it to the far side corner, but it's picked up there by Romani. He sends it to the point, across to the near side of Winslow. Winslow's shot comes in, and it's a glove save made by Cranley. 16:31 to go in the third period. It's a 5-3 North Bay lead.
And McDonald's goal, their first 5-on-5 goal for the Battalion. They've got 3 power play goals, 1 short-handed goal, and now a 5-on-5. The thing that is very interesting about the Battalion in this 5-game stretch that they're 5-0 in is that they've done a great job of, no matter if they're playing kind of poorly or whatever, it's the second half when the game counts, they're turning it on and they're doing it really well. You looked at the Sioux, they played the first half really badly, and then you look at this game, the second half of this game has been much better than the first half.
Bloom sends it in the corner in the Firebird zone. It's picked off by Stoyakov, Slavicek behind the net, and he sends it out of the zone. Aspinall lost it coming into the North Bay zone, so it's picked up by Petrie, and Caden Petrie gets in over the blue line, drops it back. Now played to the near side of Aspinall. Aspinall still holding it on the boards, and he lost it on the pass, and it's picked off by Bloom. Bloom up to McDonald, coming down the right wing side for the Battalion. McDonald sends it on net, he scores! It's a 3-point night for Big Mac. His second goal of the period. And the Battalion now lead 6-3.
There you go. He did that just for you. You got to feel kind of bad for Cranley. He's kind of kept the Flint Firebirds in this hockey game in that second period, and now he gives up that one, which was a little bit of one he'd like to have back as McDonald finds the 5-hole there, and for his second goal of the game. And how about this? That's now another multi-goal game for Kyle McDonald since coming back from injury. And this is exactly what he struggled in this first game or two, and then he has just been on fire since then. And really, really got to be impressed with him being on that first line. And we'll see if that's something that continues, that Oulahen sticks with going into that game against Hamilton on Thursday.
That will be his 15th of the season now. And similar to Ty Nelson, 3 of his last 4 games have been multi-point efforts. He has scored at least 2 goals in 3 of his last 4 games.
One thing you notice now from the Battalion, they're going to start turning on the pressure here. With 15 minutes to go, they have a 3-goal lead. Flint's got to get something in the next few minutes here.
And here they come racing down the ice. They put it on net. DiVincentis makes the save and holds on to the puck. There's some pushing and shoving going on now at the side of the net. And the officials will look to sort that out. But I wanted to make a quick point here about Will Cranley in going back to December 4th at Kingston. The Flint Firebirds beat the Frontenacs 4-2. Will Cranley, in his starts, has not given up less than 4 goals since that game, and that is a span of, I'm just counting it up here, that's 9 straight starts for Cranley. He did come into a game in relief and got a shutout, making 21 saves in a 6-5 win on January 6th in overtime against Sault Ste. Marie. But in his last 9 starts, going all the way back to December 4th against Kingston, he has not given up less than 4 goals in a game, and he's given up another 6 here tonight, and that's not going to help the goals against average.
This is his 4th straight game giving up 6 goals.
Zito in behind the net, centers it to Christopoulos, and Cranley makes another save there. And this is another game for the North Bay Battalion where their shooting percentage is pretty good. They didn't have a ton of shots in that game against the Sioux Greyhounds. They scored 7 goals in that game
Yep.
on less than 35 shots, I believe, in that one. They've got 6 goals tonight on 31 shots now. I mean, that's a very good shooting percentage over the last few games for the North Bay Battalion. They scored 7 goals against Niagara back on January 8th. I mean, they are really finding ways to put that puck in the net. And there's Petrov, who almost made it 7 there.
And not just that, but they've had troubles. They've scored 7 goals and then can't score a lot of goals the next game. This is the first game that they've done this in the last 9 or 10, where they've been able to string back-to-back 4+ goal games. So if you look back at, I believe it is Sudbury 7-3, then they lost to Sudbury 3-2, beat Oshawa 7-3, beat them 3-2, beat Niagara 7-2, beat Sudbury 2-1, Sault Ste. Marie 7-4. Now they got to score 1 more, keep the 7s going. But this is the first game where they've been able to back-to-back score a good amount of goals, and that's a good sign for the Battalion, especially against a team like Flint, who has played a really solid game for the most part when you consider the fact that they're playing the second best team in the Eastern Conference right now.
This is the 6th time since December 15th they've scored at least 6 goals.
Yep.
That is impressive for the North Bay Battalion. But you're right, it's the follow-up on the next game, right? They've got 6 goals right now. They're trying to make it 6 straight wins, but the Firebirds are doing everything they can to get back in this game, but they turn it over the line, and the Battalion, that is, had Romani sprung free on a breakaway. Romani opened the scoring all the way back at the 4:47 mark of the first period.
And what's been impressive about this game is the Battalion haven't played their best game. They've been kind of sloppy defensively, and they still find a way to be leading 6-3 here.
Kressler coming in, makes a move, dangles in front of DiVincentis, save made. Rebound chance is stopped by Dom as well. Couple of big stops by DiVincentis there. Off the boards in the neutral zone, sent into the Firebirds' end. 13 minutes to go in the third period as the Battalion leads 6-3. The Battalion and the Firebirds, everybody colliding in the middle of the Firebird zone, and as Kessler is able to bring it out of the zone, sends it towards the front of the net, and the save is made by DiVincentis again. The Firebirds have not wavered from their game plan.
Yeah, their transition game has been big. They have not had offensive zone possession where they've been able to set up, and probably since they've had a power play. They've been trying to live on the transition game, and DiVincentis is just too good of a goalie. This defense is too good to let that happen, and it's been kind of the biggest issue for the Firebirds.
Now Aspinall going in, driving in, centers it, and that one's taken away by the Battalion, but Slavicek is there, and he cannot bury that one on DiVincentis. And again, what's impressive about the Firebirds is not only are they winning those transition battles, but it seems like they always have at least 2 guys going in on that forecheck.
Yeah, they're a very forecheck heavy team. They love to kind of go on the offensive side. Sometimes that hurts them defensively, but they've got to they've got to create some sort of offensive zone pressure instead of this back and forth transition game that the Battalion are trying to play with them. And right now, what's happening is the Battalion are just stopping them from getting in those slots, and they're not getting the great, it looks like they're getting great chances against DiVincentis, but really, they're just throwing it right into his body for the most part.
Yeah, that run and gun game, when that is your game plan, you have to make sure that you're getting the good scoring opportunities on those chances, right? You can't just go in and shoot it off the body of the guy, of the goaltender, who's going to give it back to his team, who can then just go back down the other way, right?
And the Battalion are such a good defensive team that they don't let you do that, where you can get that away from, you can get away with that with some of the weaker teams.
Play inside the Firebird zone now. It's Christopoulos on the puck. He sends it in towards the netminder, and Cranley makes a stop there. 6-3 score for the North Bay Battalion. 11:49 to play in this game.
And you got to be frustrated if you're the Firebirds as well. They're on this 5-game road trip. This is the 4th game, and now, barring any miracle in the last 12 minutes, you're losing 4 straight games, and it's not been pretty. And all of them have been by 6 goals. So it's not been a pretty road trip for them so far. And when they're so tight in that 4th, 5th, 6th spot, it's got all those points count. They're only about 5-6 points away from the Owen Sound. And when you consider if they even won a couple of those games, it's a different standing.
Off the face-off right towards Cranley, and he makes a kick save. Firebirds pick up the puck on the far side. That's Petrie, who's got 2 of the Firebirds' 3 goals. He gets it out. Then Nelson tried to hold it at the line, but they're going to call offside against the North Bay Battalion. Another thing about the Battalion and what's been impressive, at least over the last 2 games, is the fact that they had a lead, lost the lead, and then have been able to come back and regain the lead.
Very similar to the game against the Sioux Greyhounds, right? Where they really struggled in that first half of the game, ended up coming back and kind of dominating the last 25 minutes or so of that hockey game.
In the neutral zone, it is controlled by Kuzmin. Dumps it in towards the North Bay net. Nelson is there. He flips it off the glass, and it goes out of play. So another stoppage here. 11:21 to go in the third period. It's a 6-3 lead for the North Bay Battalion, who are being outshot right now 40-35.
Yeah, again, a pretty sloppy game, and they're going into a Hamilton team that's not doing too bad. They got 38 points on the year. They're quite far behind the Battalion, but they're only about 10 points away from third place, so that's going to be a big test for them as well.
That's a Hamilton team who got rid of quite a few of their star players at the deadline. There's a shot on net, save made. Back out to the blue line. Kuzmin's shot goes wide of the net. Firebirds with another chance at the side, and DiVincentis stops that one as well. 10:58 to play. 6-3 North Bay lead.
And what's going to be interesting though is when they go and play Windsor at the end of the month, they're not going to be able to play this kind of sloppy game. They'll have. The biggest thing with the Battalion is they're kind of 2 different teams depending on how their passing goes. When their passing is crisp, they are one of the best teams I think in the entire OHL, if not the CHL, with how crisp their passing can be and how deep their lineup is. When their passing is as how it is today, where it's sloppy and they're not getting these opportunities, they really don't look like a top team. But they still find ways to win, as we see today.
I think that's been the case the last 3 games now. Even going back to the Sudbury game, the Battalion are proving that given the opportunity, they are going to beat you based on pure talent.
Yeah, and depth. That's a huge one.
And I think if you're Ryan Oulahen, you're going, yeah, that's good, but it'd be nice if we could pass better over 60 minutes and not try to warm up to that, right? Come out of the gate with those passes tape to tape. You're right, it's been good as the game has moved along, but yeah, against a good team, if your passing is like that, sloppy out of the gate, they're going to make you pay for it. But again, you're right, the depth is just so good for the Battalion as there's another shot towards DiVincentis, and he makes his 40th save of the game. And, you know, it's just when that one line just doesn't seem to be meshing right now, Ryan Oulahen has the depth and the ability to kind of mix things up a little bit, and you really don't lose a whole lot if you want to take a guy for top line, maybe substitute him for maybe a better 2-way guy and put that extra offensive guy on your second line. And, you know, the other team is going to have a hard time trying to match up no matter which guys out of the top 9 are out there.
And one of the things we've seen is Petrov, Zito, Tarasevich, that line, the second line, have really carried it when this top line is struggling, and that's another thing that's been so important.
Jackson going into the zone, sends it to the corner. McDonald throws a hit. Now he gets control of the puck. He tried to play it back behind the net. Jackson couldn't find it, and that allows the Firebirds to get it out of the zone. 9:45 to play. Going into the zone is Dan. Dan may have tripped off the stick, but there's not going to be a penalty getting called there, although they wanted one. There's a chance in front of the net, and Kessler sends it right into the pads of DiVincentis. The net is knocked off its moorings, and the official is ignoring DiVincentis.
And he's still ignoring even his, Nelson's trying to get his attention, and DiVincentis even pushed it, and now there's going to be a penalty. This is kind of interesting because this play should have been whistled down way long ago, and the one referee just doesn't get the answer, but DiVincentis even pushed that net off just to show that net was pushed off, and the referee was right there, so that is very confusing.
All right, so we're going to take a break, and we'll try to sort that out when we come back. It's 6-3 halfway through the third for the Battalion.
This period is brought to you by Canada Alumni Perk. Get information on special events and news or access the alumni job portal. Visit canadacollege.ca/perks for more information.
Tonight's 3 Stars is brought to you by Dave's Automotive Services, 411 Airport Road in North Bay. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect from Dave's.
Halfway through the third, 6-3 North Bay. Derek, what are you seeing after that play where the net was knocked off while the puck was still inside the North Bay zone, but the play continued all the way down the other end of the ice?
It's really weird how that happened with the wide open net. Flint is complaining that it was knocked off on purpose, and they're currently taking a look to see if that was a puck cross the line or not, as it was cleared away at the last second. But North Bay is being charged with a too many men penalty. So no matter what happens, the Battalion will find themselves short-handed when we return to action here with 9:14. But we did get an overhead look there, and it clearly looks like the puck didn't cross the line, so it should stand still as a 6-3 game there, Matt.
So a lot to break down there, right? The net got knocked off in transition with the play, but then they have to review whether the puck, when it came back in front of the net, did it cross the line? You know what I mean? And maybe that should or shouldn't have counted. So the official says that one doesn't count. So, Derek, it's just going to be a 5-on-4 power play for the Flint Firebirds, still down by 3 goals.
Yeah, very, very big kill here now for the North Bay Battalion. You want to keep the Flint Firebirds from gaining any momentum with 9:14 left and any hopes of trying to get back into this game. Currently a 3-goal game, but it's not out of reach. Flint Firebirds do have a lot of firepower on this team.
All right, thanks for that, Derek. So, Jackson is in the box, yes.
So basically, what I got out of that is, yeah, the Battalion didn't get scored on, but because they didn't call the net off its moorings, now the Battalion are penalized. Because they got too many men on the ice. Because the play was never called before the Battalion got that penalty.
Yeah.
And then the penalty happens, and that's what they call.
Yeah, it was kind of a confusing. I agree. Like, you really shouldn't have had you shouldn't have had a penalty called when the play should have been. It should have already been blown down, but.
I see what. Okay,
yeah,
Courtney. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
The thing that was confusing was.
So the last 2 minutes or so, I might be exaggerating there, but the 2 minutes after the net got knocked off should not have happened, is what you're saying. Yeah. Okay, interesting. 8:40 to play. It's 6-3. There's a puck in front of the net. The net stays on its moorings, and it comes around on the near side. Play back to the half boards. Giroux across to the left side to DeLine. Sends it down low for Bradshaw. Bradshaw back to DeLine, across to Hayes. Back across to the far side. That is Kressler there. Up to the top for DeLine. The shot comes in, and it's stopped by DiVincentis, who has now made 43 saves on the evening.
Well, the thing that, going back to that kind of weird play, was the fact that Nelson tried to get the attention of the referee too, and even like gave him a quick little tap with his stick, and still nothing coming from it. So that was kind of a weird play, but.
Well, that was actually what led to the too many men, was Nelson came over to talk to the referee, and that's what ended up being too many men on the ice for the Battalion. But he's trying to say, hey, our net's off here, you know, like you should have called that already, and they didn't.
First time Dom DiVincentis has faced at least 40 shots since a 7-3 win over Sudbury on December 28th. He made 37 saves in that game. So this is a big workload on tonight for DiVincentis as he makes another one off the deflected shot off the stick of Petrie, who had 2 goals himself in that second period. That's 44 stops on the evening for DiVincentis.
Good. So far, it's been some really good pressure here from the Firebirds on the power play. Battalion not able to get the puck out yet, but with only 40 seconds left, this is going to be a big kill for them if they can get through this with just under 8 to go in this game and a 3-goal lead.
This is a season high for saves in a game for DiVincentis. He made 38 saves in that 3-0 shutout against the Peterborough Petes back on December 3rd. And that's been one of the interesting things since this new regime has taken over for the North Bay Battalion is the defense. They block a ton of shots, but the goalie, sometimes it's just, there are those nights where he's going to get a lot of work, but the defense is kind of allowing those easy shots to come through. But against a team like the Flint Firebirds, I mean, when they are getting this much zone time,
In transition especially,
But
right?
it's in transition, right? So, yes, they've gotten 47 shots on net, but how many of them have seemed dangerous? And now coming into the zone, Christopoulos with a shot. Cranley has to look behind him, and he makes the save. Now Petrov with a chance in front, and that one's deflected away out of the zone. Back into the neutral zone. Christopoulos has the puck. He is hacked down at the blue line, but he gets it up to Romani. Romani working his way in, dangles, and he sends it off the crossbar. What a move there by Anthony Romani. 6:30 to go in the third period. North Bay had 6-3. Petrov flips it up to Romani. Both goals in this third period, courtesy of Kyle McDonald, who's got himself a three-point night. The Battalion move it into the zone. It gets knocked away. Now Hayes coming back into the middle. Hayes drops it back to the blue line. Smith coming down the right wing side on his off wing. Tried to play it off the backhand to the middle. Gets to nobody as it goes off the boards, and now little scrum along those far side boards. The puck comes loose. Slavicek over the right side. DeLine with the shot, and there's a glove save made by DiVincentis.
Yeah, they're going to have to be a lot tighter, I think, going into Thursday. Obviously, we know that we talk about Hamilton going, obviously being in 7th right now in the conference standing, but I think Hamilton's going to give them a lot of trouble if they continue to give up the kind of opportunities that they have given up so far in this hockey game. And DiVincentis has looked very, very solid. And again, the Battalion not looking very good defensively and giving up a lot of transition opportunities. But you talked about how having that puck or giving good looks to the goaltender helps. And I think a big thing outside of obviously DiVincentis being a very good goaltender, his defense has helped his numbers a lot as well because they've been so good in front of him.
Rebound control has been excellent tonight too, as the stop is made by Cranley down the other way. So even when they're coming in those transitions and getting those shots, a lot of them have been from the perimeter.
Yeah.
And when DiVincentis has had to make a particularly difficult save, he has frozen the puck and not given up big-time rebounds.
And there have been maybe 2 of those where he has given up a bad rebound and he got lucked out from the crossbar or whatever. But for the most part, yeah, it's been really solid. And I think the Battalion have gotten better in this game as this game has gone along. But I think, again, when you face those good teams, you've got to play a full 60 minutes and not a 30-minute hockey game like they have in the last couple games.
Wakely has control of the puck in the Firebird zone. Sends it to the corner for Procession. Procession wraparound chance, and he gets denied. Not sure if Cranley got a piece of it or if it went off the side of the net, but it goes to the far side corner. And that's Wakely battling for it there. Puck gets knocked away by the Firebirds and controlled out of the zone. Carrying it down is DeLine. Battling with Turley going into the zone. DeLine pass to the middle, gets past everybody and goes to the far side boards and cleared out by the North Bay Battalion. Under 5 minutes to play now in the third. 6-3 the lead for the Battalion. Colson Petrie picked up the puck, but he was just a step offside on that play.
Yeah, it's been kind of an interesting game because the Battalion have played a really good game, but they've also played a really bad game at the same kind of time. And it feels like both teams are in that same boat where they've had spurts of playing really, really well, and they've also had spurts of not looking too good. And I think the thing that's interesting is the Battalion's tried to match the Firebirds' style of play with that transition. And because they're so fast, they're able to. And I think that's kind of hurt the Battalion a little bit. But for the most part, they've done a good job of shutting down that kind of quickness.
There's a shot by McDonald. He scores! Ba-da-ba-ba-ba! Big Mac with the hat trick. The Battalion leads 7-3.
Well, what more can you say about McDonald other than what a shot this kid has? And we talked as the hats start falling down here. There's at least 2 on the ice I see so far, but yeah, McDonald has been absolutely fantastic. And I don't know how much of this has to do with the fact that he's on this top line or with the fact that he's just being set up, but the fact that Jackson and Bloom are able to set him up into these really prime positions, that's a shot from the high slot. And when he's getting these chances, man, he's dangerous. And I think with McDonald on that first line, it makes that line so much more dangerous when you have a pure goal scorer on there like McDonald. And he gets a hat trick, and I feel like there's going to be a lot more of those multi-goal games to come. And when it comes to the playoffs, which you know the Battalion are caring about, that's going to be so important.
Third of the game, 16th of the season, third of this period. It's his first hat trick since February 20th, 2022, in one of his earlier games with the North Bay Battalion. The troops beat the Ottawa 67 6-2 on that night. So
like
his second goal as a member of the North Bay Battalion.
Well, it looks like Amadeus Lombardi going off for hooking earlier as McDonald made another rush right off the face-off, and he gets hooked on his way in. So the battalion back on the power play with 4.5 to go.
And this is now, 6 games where they've scored 7 goals?
Yep.
Since, what was the date, December 15th?
They either score less than 4 or they score 7, it seems.
And even the games outside of that, the 2 Sudbury games, they've been really putting the puck in the net. The 3-2 win over Oshawa seems to be the outlier.
And that was not a very good game for that battalion played either. That was a game that should not have been a 3-2 game.
So Kyle McDonald, by my count, with his 3rd career hat trick, 2 of them have come in a North Bay uniform. And again, this guy was a 2nd-round draft pick of the Windsor Spitfires. And the battalion picked him up last year, and he has been unbelievable in his stint here in North Bay.
What's the most impressive about the battalion right now is, regardless of how they've played, this is going to be their 6th straight win, and we talked about this stretch of games where they need to win, and they're staying in line with the Ottawa 67s, and they're really saying, hey, we want to win this conference and put ourselves in a really good spot, because they're thinking playoffs. They don't care about the regular season. They're thinking, how far can we get in the playoffs, because they've got a lot of overagers, and this team can look very different next year.
3 minutes to go in this game. The battalion lead by 4. Nelson with the puck behind the net, centers it to Bloom, and he fires it just wide of the net. And another game here for Will Cranley on the other side of the puck, right, where he's given up 5 goals or more in a stretch of 6 straight now.
Yeah, and he's looked good, but he's also had a couple of games where he hasn't looked too good. And it looks like Ottawa's currently leading over in their game as well. 2-0.
Cranley has made 30 saves in the contest, but the battalion have scored 7 goals, and now here come the Flint Firebirds into the zone. They get a shot on DiVincentis, and he kicks it away. The battalion enter tonight 3 points back at the top spot in the Eastern Conference, and they're 2 minutes away from being just 1 point back of the Ottawa 67s, although, like you said, they're leading. 67s currently leading in their game this evening.
Oh, it's tied right now. Oh, no, sorry. Oh, Ottawa won, sorry. Ottawa won 2-0, so that's over. So it'll look like there'll still be 3 points unless 4 goals end up going past DiVincentis in the next 2 minutes. But if you're Flint, it's got to be tough. You got to go back to the drawing board. Again, 4 straight losses on the road. And, it's tough for them to have to come back and go back home on a kind of sour note, especially when the standings are way more important to them, and each point is way, way, way more important than if the battalion loses a game here or there. It's unfortunate, but it's not the end of the world. And for Flint, if 2 or 3 points is the difference between them getting a 7th place or getting a 5th place, that could be huge.
Absolutely. DeLine brings it in. Yeah, that's the thing. I've been impressed with some of their players. They have a really good speed game, but again, it's just the depth of the battalion. That has really been the story all season long, as Adam Dennis and company have done a masterful job of putting this jigsaw puzzle together. There's a shot in on DiVincentis, and he will make his 45th save of the game.
And the biggest difference between a team that won 2nd in the West last year, I think, is a lot of it is defense and goaltending, and that's been kind of the big deal. They still have the offensive prowess, but they don't have the defensive ability that they had last year when they made it all the way to the West Finals.
Christopoulos with a minute to go sends it to Wakely. Through the neutral zone, it's knocked off a stick and pushed over the blue line. Koosman's there for the Firebirds, sends it across to the far side. And it's turned over and right back into the Firebird zone. Cranley plays it up ahead. It's picked off by Erdl, coming down the right wing side. Stopped by Stoyakov, and he goes in behind the net. but then he's pushed off the puck by Ertl again, and Stoikov and Ertl continue that battle back there. Now they go into the far side corner. Ertl's cross zone pass is deflected and out of the zone. Hislop skating all the way back into his own end, plays it across to Kennedy. Kennedy sends it down the right side boards, but that one gets picked off by Kuzmin. He comes into the zone, takes a shot. It's off the shoulder of DiGentis and then steered away. 4 seconds to go. Make it 6 in a row for the North Bay Battalion as they win 7-3 over the Flint Firebirds on a 47 save performance by Dom DiGentis and a hat trick from the Big Mac, Kyle McDonald.
Yeah, in this game again, a combination between sloppy play from the Battalion. They've also been good at times, but overall what they show is they're the better team, and they put 7 past Will Cranley and show that they are the better team. And what more can you say? 6 straight victories for the Battalion. They're doing their part on trying to win this Eastern Conference. And next on to Hamilton here in Memorial Gardens, and they're looking to do the same thing to them.
Absolutely. All right, before we get to that game, we'll recap this game. Derek will rejoin us for the post-game show, and Ben will be alongside him. Thank you so much for joining us. Stay tuned. More on the way on the Average Joe's Game Day broadcast right here on the Frontline Broadcast YouTube channel.
Average Joe's Eatery and Patio Bar is North Bay's only year-round lakefront restaurant. On the shores of beautiful Trout Lake, we have been serving delicious food and stunning views since 1999. Indulge in one of our delicious menu items or simply sit with a cocktail in hand and watch the beauty of Trout Lake before your eyes. Check us out online at averagejoes.net or visit us in person at 3501 Trout Lake Road, North Bay.
As a Canadore College alumni, you have access to perks. Canadore Alumni Perks. This is a lifetime membership that includes special access to great offers, opportunities to get involved, and so much more. Graduates can access discounts and special offers from businesses and hotels locally, across Canada, and internationally. Get information on special events and news, or access the alumni job portal. Keep in touch with Canadore's alumni office. Visit canadorecollege.ca/perks. Great things happen here.
You rely on your vehicle to take you to the places that matter most to you. So bring your vehicle to the team you can rely on to keep it running at its best. Dave's Automotive Services. Whether you're getting your car or truck ready for the season with a tire change, making sure you're safe on the road with an inspection and certification, or doing your due diligence to keep your vehicle in tip-top shape with regular maintenance, Dave's Automotive Services has you covered. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect when you bring your car or truck to Dave's Automotive Services at 411 Airport Road. Call 705-478-5544 and book your appointment today.
The Frontline Podcast, Season 3. Courtney Kenny, Matthew Sukram, Derek Lindemann, Bob Coles, and Ben Long bring you closer your favorite teams like never before. Covering everything to do with hockey in the North Bay area, exclusive interviews with the North Bay Battalion staff and players, expert analysis on the OHL, NOJHL, and more, keeping you up to date on all things Voodoos, Trappers, Lakers, and more. It's a new season, it's a new adventure. The Frontline Podcast Season 3. Available wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
Tonight's 3 Stars is brought to you by Dave's Automotive Services, 411 Airport Road in North Bay. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect from Dave's.
And welcome back inside Memorial Gardens, where the North Bay Battalion have defeated the Flint Firebirds by a score of 7-3. 4-3 going into that third period, and then Kyle McDonald said, "Get on my back and I'll take you to the end of this game," as he scores 3 times in the third period. First one coming only 36 seconds into the third frame, his 14th of the season from Kyle Jackson and Josh Bloom. His second of the period coming at 4:11, 15th of the season, also from Blue, this time Avery Winslow. And his third goal, the hat-trick goal, coming at 15-14. McDonald is 16th of the season from Kyle Jackson. Let's take a look at the shots on goal in this game. In the third period, the Flint Firebirds, 18 for a total of 50. And the Battalion 12 for a total of 37 as the final score is 7-3. Power plays 2 for 4 for the Flint Firebirds, 3 for 6 for the North Bay Battalion as they find a way to get that power play clicking. a few other finals already on tap this afternoon, as making a final in London as the Spitfires have defeated the London Knights by a score of 4-1. In Mississauga, the Barrie Colts go in there and trout the Steelhead 6-2. In Ottawa, the 67s shut out the Sarnia Stink 2-0. And in Sudbury, they're headed to overtime as that game is deadlocked at 2 apiece. And later tonight, a 5:30 start in Saginaw as the Spirit host the Kitchener Rangers. Well, Ben, we talked about the output that this team can do. 7 goals they put up on the board. That's 4 of the last 5 games we've seen 7 goals scored here in the barn.
Yeah, they, as I said before, they like to win by scores of 7-3, 7-2, somewhere in that range. But the thing that's impressive is the fact that, again, we talked about that pattern of winning 7-3, and then the next game coming out and not being able to put up more than 4 goals. And then they finally break that after winning 7-4 against the Sioux on Thursday night. They come back here this afternoon and they take a 7-3 victory and 5 unanswered goals. The thing that's impressive about the Battalion is, yes, they didn't play their best game, and I think the Firebirds played very well for the fact that they're playing a very high-ranking team. And the biggest thing with the Battalion has been that they were still able to win it. They put on the Jets right in that kind of last 25 minutes, and we saw them score about 5 unanswered goals to win this hockey game. And you got to give it to DiVincentis as well. He saved 50 shots, 47 saves. He gave up 3 goals in the first kind of half of that game, give or take. And then he kind of shut the door from there on out, preserving that, not allowing more than 3 goals since that Barrie game in mid-December.
And that's what we talk about, timely saves. Not how many you make, but it's when you make those saves. And he made a lot of saves when it was 3-2 and the Battalion were looking to start a comeback. He was able to make those saves to make it still a reachable game.
Yeah, and this was very similar to the Sioux game. Like, you look at how Robertson played, where they were down 3-1. He made some timely saves. And when they were up 6-4, he also made some, again, he continued to make timely saves. And that was something that I think that, again, with the Battalion, is they need to play a better 60 minutes. We said this, and you look at their last 2 games, and they've been keeping up with it, but they've been kind of sloppy in the first half. And then in the second half, and especially the third period, they pick it up. But I'm telling you, when they start playing teams like Niagara, like we'll see at the end of the month, they're not going to be able to do that because they're not going to be able to come back in this game and score 7 goals. They're only going to be able to maybe get 2 or 3, and they've got to take advantage of the goals that they do get.
Kyle McDonald with 3 goals tonight to go along with 2 on Thursday's win. That's 5 in the last 2 games. He's got one of the heaviest shots I've seen. Even looked like he almost put that one through Cranley, the second goal, as he really looked to see where that was behind him.
Yeah, and the big thing here, Ryan Oulahen, not too happy, I guess, with the way his first line was playing. So he moves Ertl down, he moves McDonald up, and wouldn't you know it, like that, 3 goals in the third period for Kyle McDonald, including one kind of right off the hop. That almost got called back for offside, but thankfully you were there to tell the referees the way it was. And it was something I think that was so nice about McDonald is maybe they found something there on that top line. Maybe Jackson and Bloom are able to set him up in a way that he wasn't getting on that second line, and he's played really well, and we'll have to keep an eye out to see, number 1, is Arnsby going to come back against Hamilton? And number 2, what are the lines going to look like if Arnsby does come back? And if he doesn't, is McDonald going to find himself on that top line?
Well, we know Arnsby is really close. It was speculation that he might be able to return today, but they felt that he probably could use the extra day's rest, so I'll be curious to see if he returns this week. Upcoming this week, we know they will be at home against the Hamilton Bulldogs on Thursday the 19th. That will be our next Battalion game here on the Frontline broadcast, and then they'll be playing the next day, Friday the 20th. They'll be in Mississauga to take on the Steelheads before they conclude the week back here against the Sudbury Wolves, a team that they are 3-1 against so far, or 2-2 against, as the Sudbury Wolves always seem to give the North Bay Battalion a hard time, as that's the look ahead this week for the North Bay Battalion.
Yeah, and outside of that game coming back from Christmas break where they won 7-3, the last 2 games against Sudbury, they're 1-1. They had a 2-1 shootout win previous, in the game before they lost 3-2. Both of those games very sloppy, and that's something that they're going to have to pick that up. But they do play a lot better at home than they do on the road, and coming in here, again, the last time they came here, they lost 7-3. So I expect the Battalion to continue that great home stretch. What I'm really looking at is how are they going to play on the road against Mississauga? They've not played on the road a lot this month, and I'm curious how that's going to affect their game, especially on a back-to-back.
And it's really 3 of the lower quality teams in the league, and it's curious to see where Charlie Robertson will fit in this week for the goaltending decisions for Oulahen.
Yeah, that's the question. Do you play him? Obviously, I feel like he'll either play in the Mississauga or the Hamilton game being back-to-back, and the question is, do you want to face – I feel like he'll play in the Hamilton game just because they are lower in the standings. They're sitting 7th, whereas Mississauga about 2 points ahead of them right now in 5th, and it'll be interesting to see which one they decide they want to give DeVincentis to play. I have a feeling we're going to see Robertson in the home game just because they play, I think, a better game at home, and they might need to rely a little bit more on DeVincentis on the road, but that's something that we're going to have to wait and see.
Really good discussion there, and the power play really got rolling tonight, going 50%, 3 for 6.
We talked about that, 4 goals on special teams, 3 power play goals, 1 shorthanded goal. And again, that's something that we haven't said a lot. We haven't said that the Battalion have relied on special teams to win games. They get shorthanded goals here and there, but they haven't been getting power play goals. They go 0 for 5, 0 for 6 constantly, and they're still able to fight 5-on-5 games. Today, the difference maker was those 4 goals that they scored on special teams, especially those 3 goals, 2 of them by Ty Nelson. And you got to be very happy with an almost 50% power play rate this afternoon.
Wow. Dom DeVincentis, 47 saves on the night. Kyle McDonald picking up the hat trick as the North Bay Battalion win, going away 7-3. For Matt Sucrum, Courtney Kenny, Ben Sargent, I'm Derek Lindeman. Make the final here from Memorial Garden, 7-3 for the North Bay Battalion. Until we do this again, have yourself a good evening.
Meals are a special time for families to gather, share their day, and spend quality time together. Those dinners are made extra special when you add tropical produce found in the markets and grocery stores that carry La Huerta imports. La Huerta knows the importance of family, so they know which quality products make the best quality meals for your customers, whether it be Mexican Hass avocados, Brazilian figs, Ecuadorian red dragon fruit, or something just as exotic and special. To get your supply of the best tropical produce at competitive prices with brands buyers trust, contact La Huerta Imports at 705-752-1478.
Community engagement is one of our core focuses at McDonald's. The key is finding the right people who are passionate about the same things we are, helping kids be kids. McDonald's proudly supports local organizations such as the North Bay Regional Health Center Foundation, Big Brothers Big Sisters, One Kids Place, the Children's Aid Society, and Ronald McDonald House Charities. Stop by McDonald's on 1500 Fisher Street, North Bay, to see how we can serve you and the community every day.
Hey there, I'm Mike the Financial Advisor. When you strip it down to its core and you take away all the industry jargon, I help people solve financial concerns. So if you're concerned that you'll never save enough to retire comfortably, or that your kid is going to graduate post-secondary $40,000 in debt, or maybe even that life is going to take a really unfortunate sideways turn and somebody is going to have to open a GoFundMe page for you and your family, I can help you prevent all of those things from happening. If you want to see how, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Just do a search for Mike the Financial Advisor. You should find me.